As requested yesterday, some of you may have to come here. And if there are empty chairs in the first few rows, people in the back can shift in the front so that, there's no disturbance in the middle. I'm okay. Yeah, perfect.
great exponential skills as also his spiritual powers. All of us are here for enlightenment, and we realize that in order to lead a happy life, we require this kind of spiritual pursuit in addition to pursuing materialism. So what is that fine balance? How do we get there is something that we can learn from Sri Dushyanth Sridhar. So sir, on behalf of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, welcome. And now I request you to please start your presentation. Thank you.
रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगत प्राणात्मसञ्जीवनीं पूर्वाचार्यसुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघातदूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम्। Namaskarams, and we have gathered on such a beautiful morning where Indra has been extremely bountiful and copious with his blessings in the form of precipitation. It is good as long as those waters don't enter our houses. Andal tells in the famed composition called Tiruppavai, Vaazha ulaginil peididai. Rains should be so relishing that we should be able to have our cup of pakodas while it is raining outside. So rain is always treated so important in Sanatana Dharma that most of our scriptures talk Mahalakshmi as a form of water. See, today our calendars are filled with Mahalakshmi in a beautiful brocade of green sari, flanked by 2 elephants on sides, and there are 916 gold coins coming from her palm. Because for us, wealth today is gold. When there was barter system, where was gold? Where were gold coins? Gold existed. But water is one of the main sources of wealth for us. So in Shastra, Mahalakshmi is water. So if our city is getting water, indeed we should feel blessed. Just that we have not been adept enough to keep places that can store water. We can never say there's scarcity of rains. There's scarcity of noble thoughts to preserve those rainwaters. So in that such a rosy, wonderful morning, we have gathered for day 2 of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam Mahatmyam or Vaibhavam. At the outset, I would like to thank the very revered Sri Bharati Vidya Bhavan. I have been very happy to be associated with the Bhavans in various cities. I have performed In Chennai, at least, I don't know, 50, 60 times. In Mylapore, I performed in, they have a campus, if I'm right, Rajaji Vidyashram. Performed in Rajaji Vidyashram. I've performed in Bharati Vidya Bhavan, Hyderabad, Secunderabad, Jubilee Hills, if I'm right. Then I've performed for Bharati Vidya Bhavan, Kolkata. Sri Subramaniam is just here. So I just performed in the month of April there. Performed in Bharati Vidya Bhavan, London, now in Bangalore. So I'm extremely indebted through the day and the night to Bharati Vidya Bhavan. And of course to all the Astikas who have invited me, to the sponsors Badri and Vishal, to all the Astika volunteers of Bharati Vidya Bhavan, and to the architect of this new auditorium. I saw him yesterday. Is he here today? So he was there yesterday. So convey my regards to him. And now, yesterday we have to give a recap of what I have spoken and what you have supposedly heard. Mahabharata Saratvat Rishibhiv Pariganataha Vedacharya Samaharat Bhishmotkrishtha Matatvataha Parigrahati Gita Taikartha Kaschanaha. So Vishnu Sahasranamam is the essence of Mahabharatam. Mahabharata Saratvat. So the essence of Mahabharatam is Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam. Rishibhiv Pariganataha. It has been sung. These names have been revered by our rishis. Rishibhiv Pariganataha. Vedacharya Samaharat. It has been approved and compiled by none other than Krishna Dvaipayana, who is Vedavyasa himself. Vedacharya Samaharat. Bhishmotkrishtha Matatvataha. These namas were uttered by a great Bhagavatottama Gangeya Shantanava called Bhishmacharya. Bhishmotkrishtha Matatvataha. Parigrahati. It does not find acceptance only among scholars. It finds acceptance even in the medical practitioners of those days. The example being Charaka Samhita. It has been accepted by great poets and dramatists. Example is Banabhatta's Kadambari. It has found acceptance even amongst astrologers. Brihat Parashara Horashastra is an example. It has been commented upon by acharyas of Trimathas, which is Advaita, Visishtadvaita and Dvaita Matas. It has been revered by every other Tamil mystic saint. See, in Bharata Desham, politics can come even in languages. That is the beauty. And people who do so may not have an idea of the literature that the language is given. Of course, it is undeniable that Tamil is one of the oldest languages as per the inscriptions available. Now somebody will cut this and paste it. Then what will happen? 10 people will say, who told you Kannada is the oldest? Who told you Telugu is the oldest? See, we are not finding which is the best. We are saying which is the oldest. Oldest has to go as per historical inscriptions and evidences. As per the evidences available today, as on date, Tamil happens to be one of the oldest languages. Now there will be a counter question. Ask me a question. Why not Sanskrit? Correct? Because Sanskrita literature is very old, but inscriptions may not be that old. You're getting my point? Why? So do you mean to say that Tamil is older than Sanskrit? Somebody will ask. We cannot come to that conclusion. Any sane historian, archaeologist cannot come to that conclusion. Because the literature in Sanskritam for very long time was oral in nature. So you cannot find inscriptions of it. But you can always find a Prakritam inscription related to it. So we have all these inscriptions that talk about the historicity of a certain language. As per the inscriptions available, Tamil happens to be undeniably one of the oldest languages. Now, if I stop there, then anybody from Tamil Nadu can make friends with me. I will go one step ahead. Tamil literature was completely Vedic in nature. Let me now touch the Alvars. See, today, if there is a certain book written today here, a person in the US at the same time can know that I have written a book. Technology has advanced so much. Today, while I am speaking here, there may be another 500 people listening online. They will be in different geographies. They will all be listening to this particular lecture. But imagine 200 years back, forget 200, come to 30, 40 years back today, parents tell their children, once you reach the airport and after you have boarded or prior to the boarding, give me a call. 30 years before, was this possible? You had to just send them away, assuming that nature will take good care of them. Today, every minute we want to know. The parents are extremely perplexed if their children don't call. In those days, if they reach another destination, 10 days later, one small postcard will come that I have reached, which means to say that I don't have to engage the priest. So we have lived in that era. People here, elderly people, know that era. Imagine 300, 400 years before, when probably technology was absolutely not existent. I'm not talking about technology of constructing temples. We had our own way of constructing temples. But I'm talking about the general technology that we perceive today. How was communication made? I'll give you an example. Even today, if you have to go to this place, there is no way but you'll have to toil a little. That is called a village called Uttukkadu. You have to take a train either to Tiruchirappalli, which is Trichy, or you may have to go to Tanjavur or Kumbhakonam, and between Tanjavur and Kumbhakonam is a Kartikeya Sthalam called as Swami Malai, and from Swami Malai you have to go 6 kilometers in the fields, and then you will spot a tiny village called as Uttukkadu. Roughly 350-400 years before, lived a great Vagayakara composer called as Venkatakavi. He writes, Padmavati Ramanam Jayadeva Bhojaraja. Padmavati Ramanam Jayadeva. He talks about Jayadeva and Padmavati, who lived 450 years before him in Kenduli, a village in Odisha. How did that communication happen? He tells, Bhakti Sara Kula Shekhara Yatindra Bhattanata Bhuta Munivahana Bhakta Pada Dhuli Madura Kavi Parakala Mahadakwaya Pramukhaira Virala Samstuyamana Tadramidagana Rasolla Sakinchit Unmilita Nayanam Palita Bhuvanam Kelita Ranga Purandara Bhavanam Sri Ranganatham Anisham. He talks about a list of poets. He talks about Purandara, Namadev from Maharashtra. How was communication possible? Because people toiled very hard to spread bhakti. They went village after village singing the names of God and saints. So, Vishnu Sahasranamam was uttered by Bhishmacharya close to the field of Kurukshetra when the questions were sought after, answers were sought by Yudhishthira. But those set of 1,000 names which was uttered by Bhishma after his time was equally popular in Tamil Nadu. How do we know that? Andal tells in Nachiyar Tirumozhi, Andal, the mystic poetess, sir, is Andal restricted only to Tamil Nadu? No. In Telugu Bhasha, there is Panchamaha Kavyam. One of it is Krishna Devaraya's Amukta Malyada. Amukta Malyada, that poem in terse Telugu, is about the life history of Andal. Amukta Malyada, the one who gave the garland worn by her to the Lord. Malyada. And how do we know that? Because he was camping in a temple called Kakulandra Vishnu near Vishakhapattanam to wage a war on the Kalingas. That night, the Lord appeared in his dream like a beautiful rain-bearing cloud, and he asked the Lord, what should I do? The Lord told him, it seems you are fighting well, you should also write well. You should prove that administrators are also good educators. Then he asked, in which language should I write? All this Krishna Devaraya himself mentions. The Lord told him, it seems, see, for all languages, Sanskritam is the mother, but for all the regional languages, Telugu is the best. He says, I may be wrong in Telugu pronunciation, you can correct me. Desha bhasa landalaku Telugu lessa. For all the languages, Telugu is the most beautiful. Write in Telugu. Then he said, okay, I will write in Telugu, but what is the subject? He asked the Lord. The Lord told, there was one little girl who gave me the garland that she wore. That particular garland, write about that lady who has given me that particular garland. So he wrote Amukta Malyada. So a Telugu poet is writing the life history of a Tamil poetess, because in devotion there is no language divide. The moment you see the language divide, you are out of bhakti. So this particular incident tells us that devotion has travelled boundaries. Coming to Andal's Nachiyar Tirumozhi, the second Tirumozhi. Namamagiram yetaninna narayana narane unnai mamitan maganaga பெற்றாள் எமக்கு வாதை தவிருமே நாமமாயிரம். The one who has been celebrated by the 1,000 names. The, the is a definite article in English. You cannot use that unless and until the object is not known. So Sahasranamam was known. That is why it is the Vishnu Sahasranamam. Tirumangayalvar, the last of the mystic saints who lived in the 7th century AD. When Nandivarma II constructed the beautiful Vaikuntha Perumal temple of Kanchipuram, he lived, because he mentions about that king in that particular Pasuram. He wrote 6 prabandhams, 6 works. Periya Tirumozhi, Periya Tirumadal, Siriya Tirumadal, Tiruvalukkutirukkai, Tirukkurunthondagam, Tirunedunthondagam. These are the 6 prabandhams. In one of them, called as Siriya Tirumadal, he mentions about a little girl who was head over heels in love with the Lord. She became so much engrossed in the Lord that she developed a love fever in herself. What is love fever? You have to read Ashtapadi for that. Nindati chandana mindu kiranaya manu vindati khedam adhiram. The rays of the moon will be burning, it seems. The smell of the sandalwood will be obnoxious, it seems, for the person who has fallen in love. So, this particular girl who was in love with the Lord, she was suffering from fever. That is when the mother wanted to check who has caused this fever, whether it is Delta, whether it is, what is the first one, Alpha, Alpha, Delta, Omicron. Sir, don't tell those names, sir. All memories come. So, the mother wanted to find what caused the fever in the girl. As she was looking outside her gazebo, she noticed a fortune teller walk. So, the fortune teller was called by the mother. She asked, please check my daughter and check what has happened to her. So, this fortune teller, she will not do without getting any sambhavana, remuneration. So, she threw some grains at that fortune teller and said, now tell her. The fortune teller thought of Parvati, because fortune tellers think of Parvati in the first chakram of Sri Vidya. Sarvashadi Paripuraka Chakram. Have you heard of this chakram? Sarvashadi Paripuraka Chakra Swaminim Parama Shivakaminim. This comes as Navavaranam of Muthuswami Dikshitar. In Sri Chakram, you have got the first Chakram called as Sarvashadi Paripuraka Chakram. So this fortune teller lady thought about Parvati and said, ask your daughter to show her palm. Then she checked her body and then she started telling who has caused or what has caused this fever in the daughter. Karar Kulal Kundai Katuvichi Kateri Shirar Shulakil Chila Nel Piditeria Nel Pidittu Yeria. She threw some grains. Vera Vidhir Vidira Maishilira Kaimova. The mother was very anxious. Tell me who has caused this. Perayiramudayan Yendral. The one who has got the 1,000 names has caused this fever in her. So Andal mentions about Vishnu Sahasranamam. Tirumangai Alvar also mentions about Vishnu Sahasranamam. So it means that they were cognizant of what happened in Kurukshetra. They were adherent to the Vedic culture. So all the literature in India that was born in the ancient and medieval period completely stuck to the Vedic tradition. And Vishnu Sahasranamam was not from an utopian land. Everyone knew about Sahasranamam. In that Sahasranamam, we have seen the 6 characteristics features. But what led to Bhishmacharya telling Vishnu Sahasranamam? See, Bhishma did not say, Yudhishthira, come immediately. Start immediately. Come near me. I want to tell you Vishnu Sahasranamam. No. This was born as a result of Yudhishthira questioning. First of all, why should Yudhishthira question? For this, I have come up with one small theory. I am mentioning it as my theory because it was not found in any other book, what I have read. If you want to discard it, you may. I'll tell you what is the theory. Towards the end of Vanaparva, Pandavas were housed in the forest and now they had to spend the incoming 1 year in incognito, Ajnatam. Before which there was a small incident that occurred. They were ready, their Vanaparva was getting to a close. One day, a Brahmana's Arani stick is a little stick, which you use to get the fire out. You will have to churn the rod to get that fire. Today, we use the fire from our matchstick and burn, right? In those days, if a person dies, you have to get the fire which has been incessantly burning from his Agnihotra to perform his final rites. How do we know Ravana was a Brahmana? There is a big doubt in Ramayana. Towards the end of Yuddha Kandam, when Ravana is dead, Vibhishana says, I will not perform his final rites. Because there was nobody left on Ravana's side to perform the final rites. All his sons were dead. Kumbhakarna was dead. Uncle was dead. So Vibhishana was the only one who was the surviving one. So Rama said, go and perform Vibhishana. Vibhishana says, I will not perform. He has not been a person who has adhered to Dharma Shastram at all. I will not perform. Rama said, I have no problem. All throughout my journey in the forest, I have been performing cremation for free to many people. For Jatayu, for everyone, I have been performing Kabandha. I will do it for your brother also. But remember, Maranantani Vairani. After a person is dead, you should not speak ill of that person. You should not celebrate that enmity. You may have had differences of opinion with your brother. But now it is your duty to perform. What should I do, Rama? Go get the fire from the Agnihotra which your brother Ravana has performed, says Rama in Yuddha Kandam. So fire, that fire has to come from the Arani stick. One Brahmana kept that Arani stick in between the branches of a tree. One deer with, clustered horns came and started rubbing itself against the tree. That stick got inserted in the horn of that deer. This Brahmana was worried about that stick. You generally don't get that stick very frequently. Even if you get, people get used to see. You may get the best of mattress, but certain people like their own pillow. It will be stained with so much of coconut oil. But they want that particular pillow. They will sleep only on that. So this Brahmana wanted that stick. The deer thought that the Brahmana was attacking the deer and it started running. This Brahmana couldn't run. That is when he spotted the Panchapandavas with Draupadi and he said, why don't you help me? Now these Pandavas started running and they got the stick and gave it to the Brahmana. After running, these people were panting for breath and they wanted some water. That is when the Panchapandavas see Sarasaksha Pakshis, which are those birds that will keep running only over water bodies. So they said, there is a water body close by, why don't you go? Then Nakula Sahadeva, Arjuna, Bhima, then finally Yudhishthira leave that place, finally deserting Draupadi. Again she is left alone. Now these four brothers go there. Then they all fall dead. Finally Yudhishthira goes and answers how many questions? 124. Very good. Everybody is alert. In that there is one question. He has answered every question brilliantly. Yudhishthira, no doubt, one of the greatest kings that Bharata Desham has seen. There is one question. Kaf Panthaha? Yaksha asks. Kaf Panthaha? What is the way? I am asking you this question. What is the way? If I am going to ask you, think I am the Yaksha. I look like one. So, Kaf Panthaha? What is the way? What will you answer? Huh? What is the way? Where to? You'll ask, no, where to? Even Ola asks, drop point. You know, nowadays you have to put that drop point, else it will not take you anywhere. I'm asking you, what is the way? Then you have to ask, to where? Which is your destination? Correct. But had we been in Yudhishthira's place, those four people would have been dead forever. Because we do not know how to answer questions. We will ask the person who's asking us question another question. Sir, you are asking me what is the way. Now I wish to ask you one, where? Huh? But Yudhishthira knows that the context has been with Sanatana Dharma. He gives one answer. I will read out that answer. It's a very famous shlokam. Tarko apratishtaha shrutayo vibhinnaha naiko rishir yasya matam pramanam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gatassa panthaha. Question was kaf panthaha? What is the way? Yudhishthira gives this answer. Tarko apratishtaha. Through logic, it is very inconclusive to establish what is the way. Tarko apratishtaha. Shrutayo vibhinnaha. The Shruti Vakyams, the Veda Vakyams also are very different and differ with each other. Naiko rishir yasya matam pramanam. No two rishis agree. Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gatissa panthaha. Mahajanaha. When whatever path our great grandfathers and preceptors have taken, that is the path, he says. But this may not be the exact answer. See, I don't know, these days I don't read the weather report. At least when I used to be listening to the weather report, which was a part of news, which used to come only 30 minutes in a day. There used to be news between 8 and 8:30 or 8:30 and 9, that's all. When we will know whatever is happening in the world. Today, same news. 15 people, they will call us. What they say, I won't understand. What I say, they don't wish to understand. Tarko apratishtaha. Tarkaha. Remember, for debating either in your family or let's say in your office or among scholars, one of the civilizations which can give you an easy ride is Sanatana Dharma, because Tarka Shastram is integral to our system. Even to derive and define God, you have to do him through Tarkam. We don't say close your eyes. One day I went, suddenly there was a voice, this is the book, take it. No, you have to ask questions. But Tarka Shastram may also not be that conclusive. I will give you an example where Tarka Shastram helps and where it may not. Where does Tarka Shastram help? See, largely the Western civilizations, largely today, as on date, they don't believe in the concept of karma and rebirth. Today, English has integrated the word karma. It's karma. She tells in Never Have I Ever. It's karma. But karma, the way we understand is accrued result of your purva janma. So you have to believe in past birth. But comes another question. How do you know there was a past birth? Correct? How do you know? Was there any recording? No. But there is a way we can derive it. The mother and father are perfectly healthy. No history of diabetes in the family, both in the maternal or in the paternal side. Hale and healthy. They have that what watch? Fit watch. They keep running. They do 20,000 steps a day, 3 liters of water. They have food in installments. It has omega 3. It has less fat. Everything they're doing. They deliver a kid. And the child has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. The moment the child is born. She had no traces of even gestational diabetes. They go to the doctor. The doctor is a well-read person. Okay, doctors also need to be well-read. So the doctor says, we don't know how. There are many sensible doctors who will tell, there is no answer to this. That is when we say, if a newborn child has to suffer with no traces of medical history in the family or no trace of anything being found, then it is Purva Janma Karma. Correct? So this is where Tarka Shastram helps. Now there are very intelligent people in Sanatana Dharma. Okay? They will say, for this Janma you are telling karma is there from the previous birth. What about the first Janma? Have you heard of this question? Then what will you do? Tarko apratishtaha. Through logic, you cannot come to a definite conclusion. Yudhishthira says, Tarko apratishtaha. Shrutayo vibhinnaha. Shruti Vakyams at times may seem that they are not opposing each other. Naiko rishir yasya matam pramanam. No two rishis agree. I will tell you, no two panchangams agree. You know, in Shaura Siddhantam, when you observe the sun and do panchangam, largely found in parts of Tamil Nadu, Bengal, Kerala, how do we do? Even the months are split that way. Second, how the days are given the term auspicious. If it is an Amavasya, you have to close your eyes and say it is an auspicious day. If it Purnima or Paurnami is not as auspicious as Amavasya, it is auspicious. Sharat Purnima, Guru Purnima, everything is good, but not as auspicious as Amavasya. The first day after the new moon or the full moon, which is Prathama Tithi, is not auspicious in that Panchangam. Reverse is in Karnataka. Amavasya is not that auspicious. Correct? So by Panchangam there are differences. Acharam. See, in Tamil Nadu, in the Agama Shastram, Vaikhanasam or Pancharatram, you are not supposed to enter the puja room or the sanctum sanctorum with a wet dhoti. You have to take bath, take a dry cloth and enter. To wear dry dhoti. Whereas in Kerala, just cross border, Palakkad, you go there. Every minute that you are in the Garbhagraham, if you have the Aradhaka, your clothes have to be wet. If they are not wet, you have to go bath, take bath and come with wet clothes. Acharam, there is difference. Siddhantam, there is difference. He says, Naiko rishiryasya matam pramanam. Okay. How many of you in your Abhivadaye say, Bodhayana Sutra? Any Bodhayana Sutrakaras here? one, Bodhayana 1, Bodhayana twice. Any other? Okay, Apastamba. Okay, majority. Minority also has importance in India. So, you have got Apastamba and Bodhayana. Two prominent rishis. There are other rishis. I am taking Bodhayana and Apastamba. Apastamba has given sutras and Bodhayana has given sutras. They want to ease in our lives. They are generally very good rishis, both of them. One rishi says, "Oh my dear Astika," they are referring to us. "Oh my dear Astika, you have to perform aradhanam. You have to propitiate God." Which God? One rishi tells, "Mahadevova Purushottamova." Either Lord Sri Shiva, Mahadevova, Purushottamova or Narayana. What does the other Maharishi say? Purushottama eva. Only Purushottama. Now what will we conclude? To decide on one, we have to negate the other. So Yudhishthira says, Naiko Rishiryasya matam pramanam. Even rishis don't agree. Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya mahajano yena gatissa pantaha. When logic is not coming to my rescue, when Vedavakyams are differing each other, when no two rishis agree, the only way ahead for me is to follow what my preceptors have done and follow that path. He says, despite telling this answer, Yaksha said, very good, star, 3 stars, 100 out of 100. But Yudhishthira, something was niggling. He thought, this may not be the right way to answer some question. Like the weather report. I was talking about the weather report, right? Will it rain or not? They will say. In the Tamil news, I will tell what the Tamil people said. You will have to translate in your own language. Idiyudan kudiyo kudamalo. Lesana malai mudal balatta malai varai. Ingum angumaga alladu aangange. You know what they say? Either it will be light rainfall or torrential rainfall. It may occur in certain places or it may occur everywhere. It may then with thunder or without thunder. Malai peyyalam peyyamalum irukkalam. It may rain or may not rain. This is the weather report. This is how Yudhishthira has answered. But Yaksha was happy that at least he has attempted. See, in board exams, when teachers go, they will get one key. It is called mere attempt. Have you heard of it? If there is a mistake in the question itself, the board will say, even if the student has written that question number 2, you have to give marks. It's called mere attempt. So, Yaksha tried attempting. Yudhishthira tried attempting. Yaksha said 100 out of 100. But Yudhishthira was not happy with this answer. So Yaksha has asked this question, I have answered. That Yaksha has agreed to what I have answered. But I am not in agreement with what I have said. I should ask these questions to somebody whom I feel has the ability to answer. See, a person who wishes to know the answer to a question should also know who is capable enough to answer that question. See, that is an art. You should know, this person may be able to answer my question. You should have that instinct in you. That is when he spotted Bhishmacharya. He went to Bhishma and asked. 38 minutes have gone. Now he is going to ask. Kimekam daivatam loke kim vapyekam parayanam stuvantah kam kamarchantah prapna yurmanava shubham ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramo matah kim japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. This is called Shat Prashni in Sanskritam. These 6 questions in the Western world says about the 10 commandments, right? Here we have these 6 questions. What were those 6 questions? These are the 6. For these 6 questions, the famed commentator to Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam called as Parashara Bhatta, close to 1000 years before, in his commentary called Bhagavad Guna Darpanam. Remember these names. You know, every commentator will give one name to their commentary. The commentary of Govindaraja to Ramayanam is called Bhushanam. The commentary of Nilakantha to Sri Mahabharatam is called Bhavadipam. The commentary of Vallabhacharya to Srimad Bhagavatam is called as Subodhini. The commentary of 42nd Pontiff of Ahobilamat to Vedanta Deshika's Rahasyatrayasaram is called Sarabodhani. The commentary of Parashara Bhatta to Vishnu Sahasranamam is called Bhagavad Guna Darpanam. Why? Because the commentator feels when you write down the names of Vishnu, Vishwam, Vishnuhu, Vashatkaraha, Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhuhu, Bhuta Krit, Bhuta Bhrit, Bhavaha, Putatma, Putapavanaha, you go on till the 1000th Nama, which is Sarva Praharana Yudha. So you write down 1 to 1000 and you keep a beautiful mirror in front of it. Darpanam in Sanskritam is mirror. So as you write down the names of Vishnu Sahasranamam and keep the mirror in front of it, ideally, scientifically, you should see the mirror image of it. So Vishwam should, now the mirror image should be Im, Sha, Vi. It should be reversed, correct? Vishwam should be reversed. Even in chemistry, we come across mirror images of formulas. What? Give me one example. You have not, easier to read line. Out of syllabus. Tartaric acid. Have you heard of tartaric acid formula? It's a mirror image that we all learn. So we have to write the mirror image. You know, Parashara Bhatta took one paper, wrote down all the 1000 names. He kept one mirror in front of it. You know what he saw? He saw the corresponding quality of that particular Nama. Vishwam. The quality of the Lord to pervade, to be everywhere. The quality of the Lord to have everything in Him. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhuhu, the one who has surpassed all periods of time. He was, is, and will be. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhuhu. So for every Nama, he saw the corresponding Guna. So for Bhagavan's Guna, he saw that on a mirror called Darpanam. So this commentary is called Bhagavad Guna Darpanam. So in this Bhagavad Guna Darpanam, he has commented to about 10 to 11 pages on these 6 questions. Before I get into the questions, because it will get slightly technical and I am seated in front of an erudite audience, so I know you will all understand, yet I will talk about the basics. One great Achara and Acharya Sheela called Vadivelu in Tamil Nadu tells, building is strong, basement is weak. So I will put the basement first and then we will construct the building. In Siddhantam, in philosophy, we have 2 terms or words that we will frequent. One is Upayam, the other one is Upeyam. Upayam is the means. Upeyam is the destination. Okay. So if I have to reach some place, I have to go by certain means. This Upayam and Upeyam is what is found in these 6 questions. Now, how do we distribute the questions? The first 2 questions are about Upeyam. Today it is okay. You are all extremely attentive. Otherwise, whenever you are going for any discourse, have the habit of carrying a book and a pen. It is always, it is not, I am not doubting your memory at all. You will remember Ekasantagrahi, you will remember every line and every word and every term. I am completely confident of it. More than what you are confident of yourself. I am confident about you.
But if you write it down, those notes can actually reach the hands of your children and grandchildren. One day they may feel, oh, this is what they have written. Let me refer to it. So you should always leave these assets for your children. What have your parents left for you? They have left notes of Vishnu Sahasranamam. They have left notes on Bhagavad Gita. This is the asset that we should have. Now immediately people will buy books. He has said, so we will buy 10 volumes. Who will read? You have to take what you have understood is what you have to write. So Upayam, Upeyam. The first two questions are about Upeyam. Kim ekam daivatam loke. Kim vap ekam parayanam. First two questions are about Upeyam. Question number 3, 4, 5, 6 is about Upayam. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಂಜುಡ್ತಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Something you have to say yes, no. I will explain. See, everything will not be comprehensible in the first few minutes. It will be understood. You know, the other beauty about Upanyasam or Siddhantam is you have to be in a state where it is a bit confusing. That is philosophy. If everything is understood about philosophy, it is not philosophy. You should be in a, you know, semi-understandable state. Have you understood? Somewhat. You know, your grandchildren will say, right? Do you like me or not? Somewhat. That somewhat should be there in philosophy. Kim ekam daivatam loke. Deva. You know, this word we will come across everywhere. Even people from the Western religions, if they have to translate their books, they will say, Deva. Devane. What is Deva? Remember this word very well. Deva comes from the root word Divukridayam. The one who loves to play is called Deva. So the Lord is called Deva. Whom does he love to play? With us. We are the puppets. Nanoru vilayattu bommaya. Nanoru vilayattu bommaya. Imagine we do these puppet shows, right? The Lord is doing the puppet show with us. So we are dolls in his hand. So we are his play material. So he is called Deva. Kim ekam daivatam loke. He is very specific. Yudhishthira asks, tell me who is that one God. Kim ekam daivatam loke. What is loke? Half your Upanyasam goes in asking questions to us, sir. What is loke? Lokam. World. That also you don't know, sir. No. In Sanskritam, lokyate iti anena lokaha. Through that which you can understand the world is called lokam. That through which you can understand the world is called lokam. So Shastram is called lokam. Kim ekam daivatam loke. Who is that one God who has been spoken in the Shastram? Kim ekam daivatam loke. Now, what answers he gives, we'll see it later. The question itself needs some research. First there is a theory that Brahma is the one who is that Daivam. Because he is the creator. Today we exist because of Brahma. Sir, Brahma is the creator. Okay. But may not be true. Because if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, there is one place in the Dvitiya and Tritiya Skandam where Brahma is created. And Brahma is worried where he has come from. See, after Brahma was created, Brahma was thinking, where have I come from? Who am I? Generally, you know, in these movies, Yar Nan. Who am I? So he wanted to ask. There was nobody to clear his doubt. So Bhagavatam tells, he held the petal of his lotus upon which he was seated. Then he looked down. There was only darkness. There he saw a huge stalk, thick stalk of the lotus flower going. He thought, the flower has to emerge from somewhere. If I find the Tarumulam, I will know who has given birth to me. He started sliding down the stalk. Bhagavatam tells 500 Chaturyugas went as he was sliding the stalk. Now he stopped. He said, I will not go any further because I have to climb up the same distance to go up to the top. Then he heard an ethereal voice which said, bring the 16th and the 21st letter together. Practice that, you will know me. The 16th letter is ta. 21st letter is pa. Tapa. Do tapa, you will know me. So he started knowing who it is. When I was telling this, somebody asked, sir, he was just now born. How will he know the letters? Correct? He is a pre-fed pen drive. Already data is there in that pen drive. So he knew and he started performing penance. So Brahma is maybe treated as a creator to us, but he has a creator himself. So do you mean to say, sir, Brahma is like us? Technically, yes. He is also a created person. But do you say that Brahma and we are equal? No. He is higher than us, but as much as us. Confusing, sir. How do we know? How do we understand this? One Acharya mentions how Brahma's relationship with Parabrahman is. Parabrahman has created Brahma. We are here. Imagine we are getting Deepavali in a few more days. What sweet will they make in your house? What sweet they will buy in your house? Both they won't do. Okay. So imagine that they are going to make some sweet. So first of all, before making that sweet, the previous day, the child is asking the mother. The child is of about 4 or 5 years of age. The child is asking the mother, Mother, there is a beautiful moon that I see in the sky. Can I touch it? The mother is very realistic. She tells, the moon is very far from us, my dear son. It is not at a height where you can touch it. It is very far from us. Don't even have these ambitions of touching the moon. Unless and until you are an Armstrong. Don't have this. Day 2. The mother says, I have to make some nice sweets for you. Jahangir, Babar, Badusha. I have to make. So you get atop the attic and get that flour for me. The child uses the ladder, climbs the attic and gets the rice flour to the mother. The mother tells, get down now. You have given me the flour, get down. I will not get down, the child says. Why? While I was standing down, yesterday you said that the moon is very far. But today I am on the attic. The moon should be very near. The mother did not know how to react. She said, compared to yesterday's position, you are 10 feet high. I agree. But with respect to the moon, your position yesterday and today are quite the same. Yesterday you were 5 lakh kilometers away from the moon. Today you are 4,99,999.98 kilometers away from the moon, which is equated to 5 lakhs. Similarly, the Acharya tells, compared to Parabrahman, Brahma and we all are in the same position. Just that Brahma is seated on the attic and we are down. With respect to Parabrahman, Brahma and we are at the same distance. Chimalo, Brahmalo, Shiva Keshava, Dulalo, says Tyagaraja. Chimalo, Brahmalo. Right from an ant to Brahma. Even in Lalita Sahasranamam, you get this nama. Abrahma Kita Janani Varnashrama Vidhayini. So this concept that Brahma has created should be understood in a very subtle fashion. For that, the Acharya gives an example. Imagine that the child has to do cooking, the son or the daughter. He or she has never entered the kitchen. But the child goes and tells the mother, Mother, I want to cook. The mother is worried about the outcome. But she doesn't want to encourage because teachers tell, don't discourage your children. So what she does is, she keeps the tamarind water ready. She keeps the tomatoes cut. She keeps the rasam powder ready. Some curry leaves to season. Some mustard to temper. Everything is ready. She has kept the vessel. She has kept the way it has to be made, everything. Now the child will walk into the kitchen with all that glow and glamour, as if he has created the entire world. Kadalnyalam Shairenum Yane Yennum he will walk. He will ask, is this all you have written? Okay. Now looking at the recipe, he will take that little oil, put that mustard, put that already readily kept tamarind water, let it boil, and then will finally keep it ready. Then somebody will come into that house. Nice smell. What is there today? My child made the rasam. 99% the mother has done. Finally, the child has just managed to put everything together. This is Brahma. Shastram was given by the Lord how to create the world, and all the samagris were given. Brahma just put them together, but the Lord is so benevolent, he said, my son Brahma is the creator. How do we know that? Because for the word prapitamaha, do you get that in Sahasranamam? Prapitamaha. So for prapitamaha, the Vyakhyanam by Shankara, by Madhva saint and by Visishtadvaita saint, Pitamahasyapi Janakatvat Prapitamaha. The one who is the father to the father of the creation is Prapitamaha. So there is always a doubt. That is why Yudhishthira asked, Kim Ekam Daivatam Loke? Who is that one God whom we have to worship? Why this word one? I will give you 2 examples for this. See, first question itself I have not gone. I don't know when I will complete. Okay. In Srimad Bhagavatam, have you heard of this king called Priyavrata? Young India da. You are not going to Bharat Jodo? No. Okay. Oh, you are coming to Upanyasam. See, he wants to unite India through Upanyasam. Now, tell me, Priyavrata. Narayaniyathila varum. In Bhagavatam also you get. Very good. Priyavrata was the son of, you should remember all these things. Swayambhuva Manu. Who said that? Very good. Swayambhuva Manu had 2 sons. One was Priyavrata and the other one was Uttanapada. Uttanapada's son was Dhruva. Very good. Now this Priyavrata had a son called Agnidhra. Agnidhra. This Agnidhra married an Apsara Stree called Purvachitti. And they had a son called Nabhi. Nabhi married the daughter of Meru. She was called Meru Devi. And Nabhi and Meru Devi performed a yagam called Pragvaryam. Remember this namam. This is the head of all yagas called Pragvaryam. So at the end of it appeared the Lord Narayana and asked, Hey Nabhi and Meru Devi, what do you want? They said, we want a son who's as elegant, radiant as you. The Lord said, there is no one who is equal to me. If somebody has to born, it is me who has to be born. So he was born. And that Amshavataram, partial incarnation of the Lord born to Nabhi and Meru Devi, was called Rishabhanatha, the first Tirthankara of Jainism. You are able to connect? The 24th Tirthankara is Mahavira. The first Tirthankara, Rishabhanatha, is regarded as the partial incarnation of Narayana. So you are saying that, do Jains agree? Yes. In their Puranam called Adi Puranam, found in Sanskritam, they say that Rishabhanatha is an avatar of Vishnu. He has got Shankha Chakra Mudra in his hands. So the Lord chose to be born. What was the question? Give me that one who is like you. Kim Ekam Daivatam. The Lord said, there is no one who is equal to me. Is there another kshetram that celebrates it? There is one kshetram in the entire country where prasadam to the Lord is cooked without salt. Very good. It is a kshetram very close to Bhaskara kshetram or Kumbhakonam. Dharage Dakshina Kaveri Tira ಕುಂಭಪುರವಾಸನು ನೀನೇ, ಕರದಲ್ಲಿ ವೀಣೆಯ ಗಾನವ ಮಾಡಿದ ಉರಗಭೂಷಣನು ನೀನೇ, ಕೊರಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭಸ್ಮ ರುದ್ರಾಕ್ಷವ ಧರಿಸಿದ ಪರಮ ವೈಷ್ಣವನು ನೀನೇ, ಗರುಡ ಗಮನ ಶ್ರೀ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಪ್ರಿಯನೋ ನೀನೇ, ಚಂದ್ರಚೂಡ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ ಪಾರ್ವತಿ ರಮಣನೆ ನಿನಗೆ ನಮೋ ನಮೋ. ಧರಗೆ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕಾವೇರಿ ತೀರ ಕುಂಭಪುರವಾಸ. Kumbhakonam, a very important kshetram even for Raghavendra Tirtha Swami. In Kumbhakonam, very close to it, is a kshetram called Vyomapuri. It seems that the city resembled the heaven. In that kshetram was a rishi called Markandeya Maharishi. He spotted a little girl who seemed quite orphaned since no one was spotted in the vicinity. He adopted that girl, called her the blessings of Bhumi Devi and Mahalakshmi. So she was called Bhuma. So he brought up this girl Bhuma with so much of love. And this girl of 4 or 5 years took up to cooking because her father was always engaged in austerities. Somebody had to cook. So she started cooking. One day an aged person, in a few days from then he will die. That kind of an aged person, he walked towards the hermitage of Markandeya Maharishi and said, Markandeya, I need to find a good bride. Markandeya asked, for your grandson? No, for me. Markandeya did not know what to reply to this old man. He was 1 foot on the grave. But he was worried that that man will end up cursing him. So he said, why have you approached me, sir? I heard that you have a little girl in your house. Say, she's a little girl. Call her, ask her whether she is in agreement to marry me. Sir, she doesn't know what proportion of salt is to be added to food. Don't worry, my doctor has also advised have less salt. I will not have salt from now on. Call your daughter. The daughter came. Markandeya thought the daughter will reject him outright. She said, if at all I have to marry, I'll marry only him. What do you find attractive in this man? To that girl alone, that old man appeared as a young man. He was none but the Lord himself. So he said, I choose to be a person who's abstained from salt throughout my life. Uppu illa appan. But then she said, don't call yourself like by this name. What is your husband's name? Saltless man. If somebody asks, what is your husband's name? Mr. Saltless. I will give you one definition, the wife said. Voppu illa appan, the one who has no match. Why? Because he is the one and the only one. Kime kam daivatam loke. The one God. Kimvap ekam parayanam. So he says, whom should I reach? Where? So in Upeyam itself, remember this, in Upeyam itself, the questions are split into 2. Parama tattvam, parama prapyam. That which is that who is the final one to be attained, and that one who has to be attained where? Comes the next questions. Parama prapyam. Now, Parama prapyam means his abode. What is the abode of Narayana? It is called Sri Vaikuntham or Paramapadam. That is what is mentioned. Now, before getting to this one general question I will ask, who is a Nastika? Huh? Who does not believe in God? You agree? Huh? Very good. The one who doesn't believe in Vedas is called Nastika. Remember this. If you have to answer technically in Sanatana Dharma, if they ask you who is an atheist, you give that definition. One who believes in no God. Astika means one who says Asti. Vedam is there. Na asti, the one who doesn't believe that Vedas are not true, is called Nastika. Okay. Now, coming to the point. Kimekam Daivatam Loke suggests whom I have to attain. Kimva Pyekam Parayanam, where I have to attain. That was the second. Now these two questions are related to Upayam. Come to question number 3, 4, 5, 6. Upayam. Stuvantah kam. Whom should I do stuti of? Kam archantaha. Whom should I do archana of? Prapnayur manavaha shubham. Upon which manavas like us will attain auspiciousness. Fifth question. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramomataha. In your opinion, Bhishmacharya, bhavatah paramomataha. In your opinion, ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Which is the dharma, the best of all dharmas? Kim japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. Upon doing the japam of whom, janma samsara bandhanat, one can get rid of this worldly material bondage. These are the 6 questions. Question number 1 and 2 is about upayam. Question number 3, 4, 5, 6 is about upayam. Now I am going to divide the 4 questions further into 3 categories. Question number 3 and 4 is about siddha upayam. Question number 5 is about sadhya upayam. Question number 6 is about salambanopayam. Early morning. This lecture is between our mouth and bisi bele baat. Siddha upayam, sadhya upayam. See, in school days, early morning if you have a history session, after lunch break if you have grammar class, equivalent to that is Vishnu Sahasranamam class on a Sunday morning. But I can't help, he has commented that way. Go ask Bhishma why. Question number 3 and 4 is about Siddha Upayam. What is Siddha? Siddha means that which is ready. Siddham means ready. See, if somebody asks, sir, we have to leave for the lecture, are you ready? I am Siddham, means I am ready. Siddha Upayam is the Lord himself, because he is the one who is always ready. Sadhya Upayam is either Bhakti or Sharanagati. This is question number 5. Question number 6 is Salambanopayam, which is Japam. Kim Japan Muchyate Jantur. Through which of the japas can we attain him? So the 6 questions are ready. Question number 1 and 2 is about Upayam. Question number 3, 4, 5, 6 is about Upayam. Question number 3 and 4 are about Siddha Upayam. Question number 5, Sadhya Upayam. Question number 6, Salambanopayam. Now, question number 3 and 4 are divided further, which is Laghu Sadhya Siddha Upayam. Question number 4 is Alaghu Siddha Sadhya Upayam. As and when that answer comes, we'll explain. Now, Bhishmacharya thought, first of all, he liked Yudhishthira and he liked his questions. See, generally when there is a question answer session in most of the other places, one of the easiest ways to keep the person who's asking the question quiet is to give that remark, your question is good. Good question, sir. It will be a waste question. But if we tell that only, he will be happy and he will sit. Parvala, no question kuda nanna irukku sollitar. Adina dashodu ukandrom. So, but here Yudhishthira asks genuine questions, and Bhishmacharya tells, but he says, I will give answer in my own way. You should give the liberty to the person, right? That is when he starts telling the answer. I will tell you what is the answer for every question. You'll have to map that. He starts answering for the 6th question first. He says, I will answer the 6th question first. Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvannama Sahasrena Purushas Satatothitaha. So this is the answer to the 6th question. Kim Japan Muchyate Jantur. So he says, Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam. Ananta, the one who is not bound by space and time. Purushottamam, Jagat Prabhum, Prabhu. Who is Prabhu? Kalyan Jewellers. Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam. Purushottamam. Who's Purushottamam? See, how do we derive at the word Purushottama? I will tell you how the word comes. Anybody with the name Purushottama here? Anybody who knows somebody with the name Purushottama here? Very good. So you go and tell them what their name means. They have a wonderful name. Whether they are like that or not, the name is wonderful. Purushottama. There are three tattvas in Vedanta. Achit, Chit, Ishvara. Achit means that which is not substratum to knowledge. That which doesn't give space to knowledge is called Achetanam, Achit. That which gives space to knowledge is called Chit. Jivatma is called Chit. The one who controls Achit and Chit is called Ishvara. Okay. This Chit is divided into three. Baddha, Mukta, Nitya. We are all bound by karma. So we are called Baddhatma. If at all we attain moksham, we will get green card. Now we are H1B visa holders. Once we get green card, we will become Muktatma. The original people who are staying in Vaikuntham, aborigines or the natural native people, are called as Nityatma. So Jivatma is divided into Baddhatma, Muktatma, Nityatma. You sir. Wait, it will get easy, don't worry. So there are five. Achit, Baddhatma, Muktatma, Nityatma, Ishvara. Ishvara is called Purusha. Purushaha is different from Achetana. So he is called Utpurusha. He is different from Baddhatma. He is called Uttara Purusha. Then he is called Uttama Purusha. Purusha, Utpurusha, Uttara Purusha, Uttama Purusha. Since he is different from every tattva found in this world, he is called Uttama. Tama in Sanskrit means EST. We say, right, tallest, EST, that is Tama. So Purushottama means the best amongst Purushas. So what was the answer? Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Nama Sahasrena Purusha Satatothitaha. Okay. For this, the name corresponding to this in Sahasranamam is the Nama 685. It is called Stava Priyaha. Stuti Stotarana Priyaha. Have you heard of this? Stava Priyaha. What does Stava Priyaha mean? Katha Kathanchit Yatha Kachit Bhashaya Yena Kenapi Tejaskarastitaskari Va Gunasankirtana Abhimanena Kriyamanastava Swavishayaha Priyastamo Asya Iti Stava Priyaha. The one who loves being celebrated in any way the devotee celebrates, he is called Stava Priyaha. Which means, whatever mistakes we do in the Aradhanam, we should try avoiding, but you don't have to worry. Because many people say, you know, in today's puja, I offered the Tulasi first and then Dhupam later. What will happen? Nothing will happen. First of all, discard fear when you reach the Lord. He is more merciful and lovable than your own parents. Even your parents may have disagreements with you, but the Lord will never have any disagreement with you. So in the last 100 years, we have done lot of damage to Sanatana Dharma. Ayyo, Devru yen ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. If God does harm to his devotees, he is not God. Remember this. He is greater than our mother. Why will he harm us? So when you are doing puja or aradhanam, however simple or however humble it is, do it with love, do not do it with fear. Is there a way that God is benevolent? Can you give an example? I'll give you an example from Bhagavad Ramanujacharya's Charitram. Even today, there is an Utsavam called Tiruppavadai Utsavam in all the Vaishnava temples. You know what they will do? In front of the deity, the Moola deity, they will put a huge veshti, dhoti, and they will make many vegetables together. They will make one bisibele bath and put it in front of him. It is called Kadamba Sadam. Then the entire town, that day they won't cook. They will come with their dabbas, they will take that prasadam and go. So 1000 years before, this ceremony had to happen in Srirangam. This Utsavam got ready, vegetables were being cut. Day 2, this Utsavam was supposed to happen. And on that day 2, when this Utsavam happens, where before Lord Sri Ranganatha, the cooked rice is kept in front of him. On that day, the reigning preceptor of that region, Acharya, has to come in front of the Lord, and then the priest will say, Jiya! He will say, oh Acharya, come here. The Acharya has to receive the Tirtham of the Lord first, and as soon as he receives, the other devotees will receive, and the prasadam will be distributed amongst the devotees. This is the procedure. On day 1, the previous day, Ramanuja went on a expedition. He went city after city, village after village, and he was returning to Srirangam. So while returning to Srirangam from the northern part of Srirangam, he had to cross the tributary to Kaveri called as Kollidam. Generally, Kollidam is not a tributary where there is lot of water. You have to walk on the sands and come. So as Ramanuja was walking with his retinue of Sishyas towards Srirangam on the sands of Kollidam, towards the corner where there was wet sand, he saw a group of 4 or 5 children seated and playing. He was wondering, what are they playing on these wet sands? He went closer. He saw that these children, maybe of 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, they had made a replica of Srirangam temple with that wet sand. And inside that sanctum sanctorum, the replica was this small. In that there was a garbhagraham, and inside that they had kept one small bamboo stick in the place of Ranganatha. And opposite that bamboo stick, they had made small cups which were akin to the silver cups that you have in the Sannidhi. And Kaveri water was kept in those small tiny cups. And one of the students thought that he is the priest, and the other student has to be Ramanuja. So the other student, who was of 5 years age, he was holding 3 sticks together, Tridandi Sannyasi. So this boy priest said, he had taken some sand and kept it in front of that bamboo who is akin to Ranganatha, and that sand was Bisibele Bath. So this boy who's the priest, Jiya, like how it would happen on day 2, where when the priest says Jiya, Ramanuja has to come, he says Jiya. The other boy who's Ramanuja comes in front, I am here. And that boy, the priest boy, had to give that little water because they are enacting what would happen the next day. But to their surprise, when that little boy said Jiya, Ramanuja, who was witnessing this from a distance, came running and he put his palm in the front. This boy was surprised. How is my friend's palm so big? He looked this side, he found that gigantic personality of Ramanuja. He did not know what to react, this boy of 4 or 5 years, to that man of 80 or 90 years. Then Ramanuja said, please give me that water. He took that little cup made out of Kaveri sand and poured that water into Ramanuja's palm. Ramanuja drank and told his Sishyas, what Utsavam was supposed to happen tomorrow has happened today. Stop the Utsavam tomorrow. The Sishyas asked why. I could see Ranganatha in that little mantapam the child has made. Ranganatha is not just in that sanctum sanctorum, he is in that little stick what this little boy has made. Because he is Tava Priyaha. Whatever you call him, he will accept that. You know, Andal, the mystic poetess, she tells, you all think there are only 1,000 names of Vishnu in Sahasranamam, correct? 1,000 names. She says there's a 1,001th name. Generally, when people give gifts for functions, they will always make the 1,101. What is the 1,001th name? Andal tells, Pennin Varuttam Ariyada Perumal. The one who does not know the pain or the agony what women have. That is his 1,001th name. What is his 1,001th name? The one who doesn't know the agony of women. That is the 1,001th name. The Lord says, if Andal gives me that, I will accept that also. Correct. So, that is the answer to the sixth question. Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Nama Sahasrena Purushaha Satatothitaha. Answer to the sixth question. What is the sixth question? Salambanopayam. Okay. Now, let us go to the question number 4. What was the question number 4? Question number 4 was Kamarchantaha. So whom should I do Archana of? Who is Archana? She is a singer. Who is Archana? My granddaughter. Archana. What does Archana mean? You go to a temple. Sir, one cheeti kodira sir. 50 rupees. ಎಷ್ಟು sir ಬೇಕು Archana? ಎಷ್ಟು ticket? They'll give one ticket. You will go there. Hey Vingo. Gotram. Bharadwaj Gotram. Okay. Then he'll go. The priest will go inside. We will be absolutely disconnected to what he's saying. He will make sure that he is not audible outside. From this place he will start. He'll go inside. Then how will you know he has completed? The last 2 namas will have one tone. Navadurgaye Namaha Kalesh Brahma Vishnu Shivatmikaye Trikalajnana Sambhana Bhuvaneshwarye Namaha. You will take the 10 rupee coin because nobody accepts 10 rupee coins. Who will accept? Only the Lord will accept. You will take the 10 rupee coin and Archana is done. This is the Archana's tone and tenor today. But what is Archana for? See, Sahasranama says, Stuti Stotaranaf Priyaha, the one who loves to listen to praises. Who doesn't? Right? Even we love to listen to our praises, just that it may be untrue. That's all. See, we should not assume what we get as praises to be true. I would have forgotten 2 shlokas. Yennama Shonnel. I should not take that seriously. I should. Yennama Shonnel. Yennama. I should take it in that tone. But the Lord is absolutely conversant and eligible for receiving our praises. But how do we go and praise Him? We are not that adept. See, neither do we know Shastram in detail, nor can we remember our Itihasas and Puranas called Upabrahmanam in detail. That is why our rishis, who are very generous, kind and benevolent, have themselves created those set pattern of praises. Prakrityai Namaha, the one who is Prakriti. Vikrityai Namaha, the one who has created that is bereft of Prakriti. Vidyayai Namaha, the one who is knowledge herself. Sarvabhuta Hita Pradayai Namaha, the one who thinks good for all the creatures in her creation. Shraddhayai Namaha, the one who is a personification of utmost devotion. Swahayai Namaha, the one who accompanies Agni during all the Vedic injunctions. Swadhayai Namaha, the one who accompanies all Vedic aphorisms that attract the Pitrus. It is called Swadha. Paramatmikayai Namaha, the one who is the better half to the Lord. Vache Namaha, the one who is present in the eloquence of a person. Padmalayayai Namaha, the one who is seated on the lotus whose petals give only radiance and exuberance. Padmanilayayai Namaha, the one who is as wet and merciful as the lotus which blossoms with the connection of the serene waters of a pond. This is what Archana is. So, our rishis have created this pattern and they have said, when you go to a temple, you may not be adept enough to sing, at least listen to the Archana. That listen word is only a problem for us. Correct? So, 2 things are meant to make any Archana successful. 1, the person who is wanting to do Archana should listen. The one who is doing Archana should be sincere. When you go to a temple, now from now on you make it a point. You are paying for an Archana. Listen to it. And if there is a priest who is listening to it, let them do it sincerely. You may be wondering, sir, poor thing, how many times he will be doing? He has taken up that as his job, dharma. He has to do it. So, what is the fourth question? Kamarchantaha. Whom should I do archana of? Answer to that is the next answer. Tameva charchayan nityam bhaktya purushamavyayam dhyayan stuvan namasyamscha yajamanas tameva charchayan nityam. See, why did Yudhishthira ask 6 questions when answer was the same? You're getting my point. For all the answers, you know what Bhishma tells? It is the same Narayana to whom Archana has to be done. It is the same Archana who is the only God. It is the same Narayana who is the Dharmam. To get one answer, why should you ask 6 questions? Because in the Laukika pattern, in our mundane pattern, we have different ministries allotted. Mahalakshmi means she will give gold. Tomorrow if you have fever, she has not studied medicine. That is our understanding. If you go to Hayagriva, he will give you knowledge. Tomorrow if you want money, no. He is not concerned with finance. No credit risk, no market risk. He doesn't know all that. This is our way of understanding Sanatana Dharma. Understand this way. If Narayana can grant moksham, he can also grant us 10 rupees. Correct? So the one who grants moksham is adept of granting us knowledge, material pleasures and so on. How do we know that? In Sri Bhagavad Gita, you have the shloka what Krishna tells. Again, this is a very important shloka. Gita is something that some people say, what are you doing these days? I'm reading Gita. I have to fall at their feet. Because when you read Gita, if there is someone who can understand Gita by just reading, they are to be celebrated at the level of Adi Shankara and Ramanuja. Because in my humble opinion, you can never understand Gita by taking the book of Gita. It's very tough. Everywhere the shloka will be said, Karmanyeva adhikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. Arjuna, do your duty. Don't expect the fruits. Is it really something that you believe in? Your child studies to go to Berkeley or Harvard. See, you study. Don't do it with the aim of going to Berkeley or Harvard. How will you say this? So first of all, our understanding of Gita itself is wrong. If Gita was so simple, Shankara, Ramanuja, Vedanta Deshika would have not commented at all. So you need someone to explain. Now let me take this shloka. Have you heard of the shlokam? Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritinor Arto jignasurartharthi jnani cha bharatarshaba. Hey Bharatarshaba, hey Arjuna, 4 classes of people propitiate me. Chaturvidha, 4 classes of people. Bhajante mam, they all do bhajana, think of me. Janaha sukritinor junaha, they do it to get good deeds. Who are they? Asked Arjuna. Artaha jignasuhu artharthi jnani. 4 categories of people. He says artaha. What does artha mean? Very good. The one who is in distress. If you are in pain, you are called artha. Arti means the one who is suffering. Arti, sir, I thought it was Arti. That is Harti. Harati. Ha. H-A. That is Harati. Ganga ji ki Arti means you are giving distress to Ganga. In Sanskritam, Arti is not Arti. That is Harati. Ha. Hakaram should come. Arti in Sanskritam means trouble. Artaha. It is better you stick to giving names to your grandchildren from the Lakshmi Ashtotram. Don't try something new. You will end up giving names which don't mean actually right. Artaha, the one who is in distress, correct? But there is an other meaning to Artaha. Remember this. Brashtaishwaryaha punah praptaha. The one who has lost wealth but gains it back is called Artaha. So suppose you have lost your cell phone. Sir, don't even say that, sir. Our Atma is inside that. You know, in those days, in Amar Chitra Katha, the demon will not have the Atma in him. The Atma will be inside a parrot, that parrot will be in a cage, that cage will be in a cave, that cave will be in an island, that island will be far away. So our hero will go take the boat, get inside that cave, win all the odds, kill that parrot, then the demon will die. Likewise, our Atma is in our cell phone. Right? Just assume your cell phone is lost for a minute. 21 passwords have been saved in that. 4 payment gateways are there in it. Inside that, when the flap cover, you will find those credit cards. Your Aadharam is there. That is lost. You are extremely depressed, worried. Next day, while you're worried, you've been sharing this agony with everybody whom you know. Somebody knocks at your door. Is this your phone? I found it at the end of Brigade Road, lying. I saw your address and I've brought it. So you had wealth, you lost it, and you have gained it. You are called Arthaha. Artharthi means the one who has never had wealth but is gaining for the first time. That is called Artharthi. So both of them are associated with wealth. Arthaha, he had wealth, he lost it, he gained it. Artharthi, he gets new wealth. Put together, they are called Aishwaryarthi. There is another person called Jignasu. Jignasu means the one who wants to know more about his Jivatma. That person is called Kaivalyarthi. Last comes the category where the person wants to know about the Lord. He is called Bhagavallabharthi or Jnani. So Krishna tells Arjuna, there are 4 categories of people, Arjuna. Arthaha and Artharthi together are Aishwaryarthi. Jignasu wants to understand his Jivatma, and Jnani wants to understand me. All people seek asylum in me. Thereby, there is no ministry allocation in Sanatana Dharma. Lakshmi will take care of finance. She is Nirmala Mami. There is Senadhipati who's Kartikeya or Kumara, who's Muruga, who's Sharavana, who will take care of army. He is Rajnath. Vishwakarma will take care of roads. He is Gadkari. In fact, Sanatana Dharma is like the current PMO. Everything will be taken care only by him. Arthaha, Jignasur, Artharthi, Jnani. So the question is, answer is, Tameva charchayan nityam bhaktya purusham avyayam dhyayan stuvan namasyamscha yajamanas tamevacha. What is the example to that? You have to do archana to him. Archana to whom? Archana to the one who listens to us. See, you think we are listening to the Lord? Impossible. We can never listen to the Lord because we have the habit to never listen to anybody. So if at all somebody has to bend, the Lord has to bend. He listens to us. Sir, does Sahasranama agree with it? Yes. I will read out the Nama. 627th Nama. He is called Vidheyatma. Vijitatma, Vidheyatma. See, only if I recite that line, people can recollect. If I say 627th Nama, adikkenna irundittu pottom. Namakkenna. Vijitatma, Vidheyatma, Satkirte, Chinna Samshayah. What does Vidheyatma mean? Listen to this commentary. Why am I reading that commentary? Right. Tesham. See, some of you may be wondering, sir, we thought a lecture like this will be very engaging, very simple. You are quoting Sanskrit lines. See, lectures cannot be as simple as the way we think. Now that the Father commands you, I cannot keep saying all these sentences. Okay, this is how my lectures are. I will read out from the Pramanam. Tesham vidheyam bhi iha agaccha, iha tishtha, ihasva, idam bhungshva, iti vidhatum cha bhogyam swarupam asyeti vidheyatma. The one who listens to his devotees. Does he listen to his devotees, sir? Yes, I will give you 3 examples for this. 1. This is a kshetram which is found reference even in the Sangam literature of the ancient Tamil land. It is called Tiruvekka. See, certain names, if you are not a Tamil origin speaking person, you have to learn these namas, no other go. If you want to learn more about Sanatana Dharma, language should not be your barrier. So, Tiruvekka. Sir, how do we go to this? It is next to SM Silks and Babu Shah in Kanchipuram. You can buy one Korvai mountain border saree, and if you have time, you can visit the Lord. He is not that important. Okay, it is in a kshetram called Tiruvekka. The Lord is called Yathoktakari in Sanskritam. Why? Because there is a charitram to this. The Lord was reclining there. He is called Vega Setu. The other name is Vega Setu. He was the bridge to the river called Vegavati. He was the first encroachment, which the BBMP never cleared. He laid on the river called Vegavati. He slept. He did not want the river to destroy Brahma's yagam. In the same kshetram was a mystic saint called as Tirumalizai Piran. This saint was extremely devoted to the Lord and always engaged in deep penance. He was served by a student called Kanikannan and another lady who used to come and sweep his ashramam. After many months, out of sheer deep penance, this Rishi opened his eyes. Tirumalizai Piran opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, the lady who was standing in front and doing, she was a very old lady. She was sweeping. She turned into a 16-year-old young woman. 16-year-old girl. Since she was in Tamil Nadu, she was singing Sindura Puve. She has reached 16, so she started singing that song. By the Rishi's grace, she became a young woman and she started walking by the streets of Kanchipuram. The Pallava Raja who ruled that time was amazed to see this beautiful lady, a personification of blemishless beauty. He asked, I have never seen you in Kanchipuram. Where are you from? The king asked. She said, I was always in Kanchipuram, but I have turned young because of this great saint called as Tirumalizai Piran's eye glances that fell on me. Now this king said, even I am getting old. I have been trying to do so many anti-wrinkle treatments. L'Oreal has not been that helpful. There is one upping treatment. You have to take and you have to do this pap smear and you will get nice skin, it will glow. Suranarakhago bhoigandharvadaityehi chitram ram ramyatetam tribhuvana vapusham vishnumisham namami. You will be competing with the Lord and His beauty. So with all this technology, this king said, even I should become beautiful. Let him look at me also. She said, see, he is not in the profession of looking at people. If you stand in a queue, he'll keep looking at you. He just like that, he opened his eyes, it fell on me, I turned. Don't do all this with him. The king summoned the Rishi's student called Kanikannan. Kanikanna, come here. Ask your guru to come to my court and ask him to look at me. The student said, sir, my guru is not such a cheap person. He is completely into Bhagavad Bhakti, he will not come. If you are not listening to the words that I have commanded, it is better that you quit this particular city. You don't have to live in my jurisdiction, Kanikanna. As you command, sir. He went to his teacher Tirumalizai Piran and said, Tirumalizai Piran, Swami, Acharya Varya, the king has asked me to leave this city, I am leaving. The Acharya said, okay. After the student left, for a moment the Acharya thought, see, people call me a guru. My only student has left. Then how can I call myself a guru? Are you a teacher? Yes. Do you have students? No. Then how are you a teacher? If my student has left, what job have I as a teacher to stay in this place? I will also leave this city. He left. As he left, he saw the Lord of Kanchipuram lying on Adisesha, looking with pitiable eyes at Tirumalizai Piran. He was looking in a way. See, your student has left, you have left. What will I do when I don't have a bhakta like you? When the Lord showed such eyes of a very, very pitiable state, the Alvar said, Kanigannan pogindran, Kamarum punkachi, Tamarekanna ni ingirukka venda, ni undan paina happaye shuruttikkol. My student has gone, so am I going. Oh, the Lord with lotus-like eyes, you don't have to stay here. Take your mat, which is the 1,000-hooded snake, roll it, keep it under your armpit and walk along with me. The Lord walked along with him. Then he went and stayed in a village for one night, Vor Irukkai. That night he stayed there. This Pallava kingdom lost electricity. Dirty water started getting mixed with good water. All food grains were affected with ants and termites. The king was wondering what could have happened. Then he sensed that something equal to a calamity has happened. He goes to the place where Alvar, the Lord, and his student were stationed. He tells, please come back. I have committed a grave mistake by sinning against you. Please come back. Now, the Lord has to follow. The Lord, Kanikannan left, so did the Acharya go, and then the Lord also followed them back to the original place. Now the Acharya tells, Kanikannan vandurindan kamarum punkachi tamarekanna ni ingirukka vendum ni undan paina happaye virittukkol. Now spread your snake mat and sleep. Yesterday he said, take your snake mat and walk with me. He walked. Today you spread it and sleep. He slept. He listens to his devotees. So he is called Vidheyatma. There is another kshetram very close to Chennai called as Tiruyavvalur. In this kshetram there was a rishi called Shalahotra. So this rishi was so devoted that the Lord came in the form of an old man and asked, where can I sleep? Where should I sleep? Which is the room where I have to sleep? Yavvul. Then the rishi said, this is the place. And as he slept, the rishi realized he was none other than the Lord, and he said, you have to sleep here permanently. So he slept there. There is one anecdote which, what does that Vidheyatma mean? He accepts what his devotee gives. Whatever you give. See, even our home cooked food, he receives it. You must realize how merciful he is with that. So, one of the greatest saints in the Vaishnava tradition called Trikudandai Andavan used to give an anecdote. It seems after Krishna's marriage to Rukmini was from Maharashtra. Now he is settled in Gujarat. So in a bullet train speed, he took her from Vidarbha Desham, Nagpur to Jamnagar, Gujarat. He settled there. From Sabudana Khichdi, suddenly she has to have dhokla. One afternoon, as they were talking, Krishna had a very upset stomach and he went and vomited. Rukmini asked, what food I had, you also had, why are you vomiting? No, I had something more. What is that more? See, yesterday one of the persons who manages many bovine race, cattle in Dwaraka, had very, very old food and water cooked for the cows. The cow is generally not very fussy in nature. Whatever he gives is those cows accept it. But yesterday he gave such stale food to the cows that cow refused to consume that. This man who lives in Dwaraka, Rukmini, was so upset. I have cooked such good food for you, you call it stale food and you're not having, Mr. Cow? He offered it to the ground, Krishnaya, saying, Krishna, let Krishna take it. If my devotees give even stale food, I accept that. Since I consumed that yesterday, my stomach is upset today. So he is called Vidheyatma. The answer to the fourth question, Kamarchantaha. Next, answer to the third question. What is the third question? Stuvantah kam. The answer is Anadinidhanam Vishnum. If you know that, you can recite. Anadinidhanam Vishnum Sarvalokamaheeshwaram Lokadhyaksham Stuvannithyam Sarva Dukkhakito Bhavet Brahmajnam Sarva Dharmajnam Lokanam Kirtivardhanam Lokanatham Mahadbhutam Sarva Bhuta Bhavodbhavam. This is the answer to the third question. Anadinidhanam Vishnum Sarvalokamaheeshwaram Lokadhyaksham Stuvannithyam Sarva Dukkhakito Bhavet. You will be away from all your worries if you recite this particular Lord's name. Anadi Nidhanam Vishnum. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the Maheshwara for all the worlds. Loka Dhyaksham. Stuvan Nityam. Sarva Dukkhakito Bhavet. What was the question? Stuvan Tahkam. Stuvan Nityam, he says. Next. After this comes the answer to the fifth question. What was the fifth question? Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramo mataha. Correct. Now the answer is Yeshame sarva dharmanam. He himself is. So whom should I do Archana? Narayana. Whom should I do Stuti? Narayana. Whom should I do Japa? Narayana. Who is the only one? Narayana. Who is the Paramadharma? Narayana. So he says, Yeshame sarvadharmanam bhavatah paramo mataha. Kim japan. So here he says, Yeshame sarvadharmanam. For that the answer is Aravindaksha. He says Pundarikaksha. Pundarikaksha means one who has got beauty. Lotus-like eyes. Very good. What does Pundarikam mean? Very good. Pundarikam means white lotus. Remember this. It is not pink or red lotus. How do we know that? From Amarakosha. What is Amarakosha? Sanskrit dictionary. Who gave us that dictionary? A Buddhist gave us that dictionary. It is called Amarakosha. Generally, there will always be a debate. Now that was ignited. Buddhism, Hinduism. Traditionally, Buddhism, when it emerged, it was against the tenets of Sanatana Dharma. Buddha opposed the tenets of Sanatana Dharma. Slowly, over a period of time, Buddhism started integrating with Sanatana Dharma. But the beauty is, in those days, my Acharya used to state, unless and until you were completely cognizant of Sanatana Dharma's principles, you were not allowed to debate with a Buddhist in those days. You required extremely talented debating skills to debate with a Buddhist. That is why it took a lot of years for Kumarila Bhatta to achieve that. And after Kumarila Bhatta's time, Adi Shankara took over that huge onus of debating with the Buddhists. Today, if I talk about Buddhism, simple things we know. Buddha will be seated like this. Correct? One. Then Buddham charanam gacchami, Sangam charanam gacchami, Dharmam charanam gacchami. This is all too basic. The way they debated was on 4 classes of Buddhists. They were called Vaibhashikas, Sautrantikas, Yogachara and Madhyamika. They were the 4 big groups of people which Shankara debated, and later that baton was given to Ramanuja. He had to debate. Vaibhashika, just giving you just 1 or 2 lines about Buddhism. There were certain texts called as Abhidhamma texts. Abhidhamma. Dhamma is Pali. Dhamma is Dharma in Sanskritam. So Pali was the language which he adopted. So Buddha thought Sanskrit may be construed as a language only for the scholars. Let us use Pali. How will Pali sound? I will give you an example. Attihi bikko akadayam nattuyetasya jantuno sattam manasa sunna rattanam sampajjayi. This is Pali. Attihi bikko. Bikko is bhikshu. Attihi bikko akadayam. Akadayam is what he has said. Nattuyetasya jantuno sattam manasa sunna rattanam sampajjayi. This is Pali. So Ashoka's edicts are a mix of Pali, Sanskritam and Prakritam. So Abhidhamma were the texts. So certain people used Abhidhamma texts and they were called Vaibhashikas. Some people used only certain sutras of it. They were called Sautrantikas. Some people begged to differ from them and treated yoga as a principle. They were called yogacharas. Then after yogachara came people who thought we have to be middlemen in Buddhism. They were called madhyamikas. The four classes of people were further distilled into two called Hinayana and Mahayana. That is how Buddhism, all this, they flourished at one point in time. Buddhism was at its peak during the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th centuries. After Shankara's time with his debating skills, because in those days, you don't have to lift one sword, grenade and all of that. Simple, you have to call a person for a debate. He has to present his thoughts, his postulates. Either I have to negate them, okay, or I have to negate and present what I have to give to him. Each of this had one name. This debate, three kinds of debate existed. Jalpam, Vitandam and Vadam. Three forms of debate. Now we have brought all of Vitanda Vadam. You can never mix Vitandam and Vadam. Vitandam is one style. Vadam is another. Jalpam is another. So if a person loses, then he has to come to my side. So Shankara started winning people through debates. He never used force. Then Ramanuja continued in a big way and he fought against the Jains. Because Jainism was earlier to Buddhism. People think Buddhism is first, Jainism is next. No. Jainism is older to Buddhism. How? Because, can I just take 5 minutes and then, is it okay or am I digressing? It is okay. Okay la na jolluve. I'll just ask such courteous questions. Now, in Jainism, they use two Vadams, two philosophies. One is called Syad Vadam, the other one is called Anekanta Vadam. Two philosophies. Syad Vadam was completely on possibility. Syad Asti, Syad Nasti. Syad Asti cha, Nasti cha. Syad Avaktavyam, Syad Asti cha Avaktavyam, Syad Nasti cha Avaktavyam, Syad Asti cha, Nasti cha Avaktavyam cha. So Jina, he is called Jina or Arihanta. You have heard of the word Arihanta, right? Arihanta means one who knows everything. He gave, from Rishabhanatha's time he started giving. And this Rishabhanatha had two sons. I spoke about Rishabhanatha in the first 20 minutes, remember? Rishabhanatha had two wives. Through those two wives he had many sons. The one of the wives, he had a son called Bharata who became Jada Bharata, upon which our Desham is called Bharata Desham. The other wife had a son called Bahubali. Sir? Yenti sir? Bahubali married whom? So this Bahubali is called Gomateshwara. You go to Shravana Belagola, right? So this Bahubali is Gomateshwara. Now, this Bahubali's father Rishabhanatha from the north, I'm talking about the region of Uttar Pradesh, Nepal. Then he goes to Girnar Parvatam in Gujarat and professes Jainism, and then comes further south to Kutakachalam. Kutakachalam is Coorg. There he sheds his body. So Karnataka at one point in time became the powerhouse of Jainism. So after Shankara's time in the 8th century, Ramanuja had to come in the 11th century to fight the Jains. Again, when I say fight, don't think he was having a tridandam. The other person is having one stick. Both of them were fighting. You have to win through debate. That Ramanuja had a huge task. Jains said, we will not agree to your one-to-one debate. You debate, you come as a single person or many people, but we will come as a group. Ramanuja asked, how many? We will come as a group of 12,000 and we will debate. We will keep throwing questions at you and you have to answer. That is the kshetram called Tondanur near Melukote, where he debated. And at the end of it, Ramanuja won and they gave the entire hostel, the monastery, where Jains used to stay for the temple to Ramanuja. Now, so, but today, Buddhists and Jains have become a part of us. So, you know, they have accepted, they do Lakshmi Puja, they do Ganapati Puja, every puja they do. So, they have come into the system. So, personally, I have nothing against them. They are very welcome into Sanatana Dharma. We can even do Pancha Samskaram and make them Sri Vaishnavites. But the problem is, here, the Kodharmas sarvadharmanam bhavatah paramomataha. Who is the one or what is the dharma to be taken? For which he says, Yeshame sarvadharmanam. He is the one who is the dharma of all dharmas. Who is that person? He is the one. Now who is that he? Pundarikaksha. So there is one nama in Sahasranamam called Aravindaksha. Padmanabho Aravindaksha Padmagarbha Sharira Bhrit. What does Aravindaksha or Pundarikaksha mean? I said Pundarika means white lotus. Buddhists have given that. It's okay, we can use Buddhist dictionary, not a problem. Now, how do I make it pink lotus? Because if it is white lotus and you're telling the Lord's eye is like white lotus, that means he is anemic. Correct. How do I make it pink lotus? That is why you say that the lotus has the redness akin to that of coral. You have to make coral paste. Apply it by the petals of white lotus. Towards the edges, the pink has to be high. Towards the middle, it has to be low. So you pluck one petal from the lotus flower. How will it be? It will start, it will expand this much, and at the end, it will come together. Correct? So the eyes of the Lord are like the petals of a lotus. You should not keep lotus there. Lotus petal. It should have that red tinge towards that end. That was his Aadhaar card. See, in many airports these days, you don't have to give your passport. They will do eye scan. The machine will just run in front of you. So today, if I go to the airport, we show that PAN card, Aadhaar card, he lets us in. Suppose, imagine the Lord is standing behind me. He has to get inside the airport. The security will not ask for the Aadhaar card. He will look into the eye. If it is the eyes of the petals of a lotus, he will be allowed inside. Because Vedam says, Pundarikaksha. Shurpanaka has said, Shurpanaka's years, she was humiliated, right? She goes and tells her brothers, who has done this, meted this injustice to you, Shurpanaka? The brothers asks. She tells, the one with the eyes like the petals of a lotus has chopped my nose. Tarunau Rupasampannau Sukumaro Mahabalo Pundarika Vishalakshau Chirakrishna Jinambaro. The one who has got lotus like eyes cut my nose so beautifully. See, even while praising the Lord, you have to tell he is the one with lotus like eyes. Okay. Even Duryodhana says that. So this word Pundarikaksha is very important. So he says, Kodharmas sarva dharmanam. He is the one, he is the dharma for all. Now, next, answer to question number 2. What was the question number 2? Kimva pyekam parayanam. Paramamyo mahattejah. Paramamyo mahattejah. Paramamyo mahattapah. Paramamyo mahadbrahma. Paramamyah parayanam. Pavitranam pavitramyo. Mangalanam scha mangalam. He is the pavitra of pavitra. Mangala to mangala. What is this, sir? Pavitra to pavitra. Mangala to mangala. Now, what are the objects in this world that we think are very mangalakaram? Yadadond heli, sir. Turmeric. Haridra. Matte. Kunkuma. Pushpa. Darbhe. Enadu? Chandanam. All these objects are pavitra vastus. Mangalakara vastus. Now, who gave mangalatvam to turmeric? See, we call turmeric Mangalakaram. How did turmeric get that name? Because it is akin to the color of Mahalakshmi. So it has borrowed the color from Mahalakshmi and said, see, you are called the god of Mangala Devata. Mangala Devataya Tvaya Vina. You are called Mangala Devata. I am taking the color from your body. Please give me auspiciousness too. So Haridra is called as Mangalakaram. How do we know that? See, Putana in Srimad Bhagavatam, she was Kamsa's closest friend. She was in that WhatsApp group, V7. Putana, Shakata, Pralamba, Keshi, Dhenuka, all antisocial elements together were in Kamsa's group. So he said, Putana, come here. Putana came. He said, you have to kill children. because her specialization was killing children. Putana Balaghatini. Her PhD was in killing children. So she applied virulent poison on her bosoms and she went to Krishna's house. She fed him. Krishna consumed the poison. Looking at his beautiful countenance for a minute, she too lactated. There is a condition called galactoria. She lactated. The child consumed that milk. Finally, the Jivatma was also taken and she fell dead on the streets of Gokulam. Huge body. Nandagopala wanted to dispose this body. How to dispose? He brought the cutting instruments in his house. And he asked the person opposite his house, you cut from that side, I will cut from this side. So as they started cutting the body of Putana with the saw, what they expected was an obnoxious odor that should emanate from her body. No. Bhattadri tells in Narayaniam, it felt as if 3-4 sandalwood trees were burnt together. How her body is smelling sandalwood? Because the Lord had touched her. Pavitranam pavitramyo mangalanamscha mangalam. Her body also became one huge stick. Then the women started coming. They said, you cut that hand and give. I'll keep it in my house. You cut this part and give. Pavitranam pavitramyo. So, paramamyo mahat tejaha. Paramamyo mahat tapaha. Now if you remember, I spoke about the first two questions. Kimekam daivatam loke, kimvapyekam parayanam. I said these two questions talk about upeyam. In that I said the second question talks about parama ayanam, which is the final destination. Yesterday I also said at about 5:55 that I will talk about uttarayanam. 881st nama onwards. The next 11 namas talk about the exit of the Jivatma to Vaikuntham. You can note this down, very important. 881st nama, Jyotihi. You got this Jyotihi, Suruchihi, Hutabhuk Vibuhu, Ravihi, Virochanaha, Suryaha, Savita, Ravilochanaha, Ananta Hutabhuk Bhokta, Sukhadaha, Naikadaha. These are the names that talk about the exit of Jivatma. How does the Jivatma exit, sir? Tell us that. In a normal condition. Now don't ask for a person caught in a road accident, flight accident, what will happen. That is unnatural. Naturally, the Jivatma has to exit in a body from a Panchabhautika Shariram. Shastram gives the process of exiting. We can know that now, because when it is actually exiting, we won't know. So it is better we know it now. No, that time the knowledge will not come. Annike sonnar avaru upanyasatha sonnar. Ipdidan pogonu sonnar. Eppadi theriyum? So the Jivatma has to exit. For that Shastram tells, the first signal is the Pancha Indriyas will stop cooperating with you. The moment it starts not cooperating, don't think the Jivatma will exit. It will take some time. The tongue will not know the taste. Maybe the food is like that. We don't know. The tongue will slowly start, will not be able to decipher that taste. The ears will not be able to hear that well. The eyes will not be able to see that way, because the Pancha Jnanendriyas, they are called Jnana Indriya, because the flashes that come to your eye are reminiscent of what has happened in the past. See, at the age of 3, my grandfather told me this is a light. My eye has captured that and has put it in the pensive, telling this light, this object is a light. So when I'm at the age of 5, when I see that, I will say light. Because at the age of 3, my grandfather has told me this is light. So then I will know light. Maybe at another age, elderly age, that person, he will ask, what is this? Because there is no coordination between the eye and the memory. So the Jnanendriya will start not cooperating with that person. 1. Then Buddhi. All this has association with Buddhi. Buddhi will start cooperating less. At that point in time, it will signal the Jivatma. Where is the Jivatma? Atyatishthad dashangulam You go from the mouth, it will go in a certain angulas. You will find the 10th angula here. Here is the Jivatma. There is a layer called diaphragm. Just close to that, Shastram tells that there is an inverted lotus. Now you will say, I did 10 bypass surgeries. I didn't find. It is in a micro level. That way even we didn't see that corona. Have you seen corona? Even I have not seen how much it troubled the entire world for 3 years. Only if I believe your concept, then you should not believe corona as well. So there is an inverted lotus. Inside that lotus, there is a Jivatma. And from the lotus emerges 101 pathways. It is called Nadi in Yoga Shastram. There are 101 Nadis. The 101st Nadi is connected to the Brahmarandram here. So when the Jivatma departs, it will take that 101st Nadi. It is called Sushumna. Subalopanishad talks about it. Even Shaktas through Kundalini Yoga will know Sushumna Nadi. So the Jivatma has to exit. If the Jivatma travels in the first 100 Nadis, it will be born again. That path which it takes to be born again is called the southern path, called Dhumadi Margam, the path filled with smoke. The 101st Nadi is called as Sushumna. Only if the Jivatma takes the 101st Nadi, it will go by a northern path called as Archiradi Margam and will never be born again. Interesting, sir. But how will the Jivatma know which path to take? Should we use GPS or what should we do? If the Jivatma during its lifetime does Upasana, Upasana is not worship, Upasana is Bhakti Yogam, or Nyasa Yogam, which is Sharanagati, then the Jivatma will be directed to take the 101st Nadi called Sushumna Nadi. So when the Jivatma exits the material body, the Panchabhautika Shariram, the first region or abode it comes across is fire. That is called Jyotihi. The one who is present as fire to direct the Jivatma is called by the 881st Nama Jyotihi. Next comes Suruchihi. Suryo Dayadrochata Ruchir Ahamayasya Shobhaneti Suruchihi. Then the Jivatma has to wait when the rays of the sun come. It is called the daytime. Jivatma in its Sukshma Shariram as per Shastram will not travel in the night. It will travel only during the day. Then it has to, in our geographical terms, it has to cross the troposphere, the Jivatma. Then it has to go to the stratosphere. So it has to cross Suruchihi. That is the 882nd Nama. Huta Bhuk Vibhuhu. Amrita Parinamam Hutam Bhujjanaha Somo Yasmin Shukla Pakshadvara Vibhuhu Purno Bhavati Sa Huta Bhuk Vibhuhu. It has to wait for the waxing phase, Shukla Paksham. From Amavasya to Paurnima only the Jivatma will travel, else it will stop. It will wait for the next Shukla Paksha to come. Next, Ravihi. Utthana Kala Tayogana Dwara Ruyate Prashasta Iti Ravihi. Then it will wait for the Uttarayana Kalam. If at all somebody passes away in Dakshinayanam, when they reach Vaikuntham, they will. But there will be a slight delay of that 6 months. It has to wait for that Uttarayana Punya Kalam. That is why Bhishma waited for Uttarayana Punya Kalam. Is that Shastrik? Yes. Next. After that, Virochanaha. Dvabhyam Ayanagatibhyam Samvatsaro Rathenadityam Virochayati iti Virochanaha. The one who makes the Jivatma travel in 1 year. That Dvabhyam Ayanam. 2 Ayanams make 1 year. It is called Samvatsaram. That is why to remind us that your Jivatma will take 1 year, we do Abdhapurti. Abdhapurti means completion of a year. Vedam tells that if you have to live a complete human life, the man or the woman have to live for 120 years. they have to celebrate 2 Syashtibda Purtis. It's called Dvasashtibda Purti. Ramanuja is the one who has celebrated 2 Sashtibda Purtis. On his 120th year he left 2 Sashtibda Purtis. Now, after Samvatsaram, the Jivatma will keep traveling. After that, Suryaha. Vayuhu sada saratyasyati iti Suryaha. See, after troposphere, stratosphere, ionosphere and exosphere, you will reach the atmospheric boundary. Till that, Vayu will come along with you. Vayu will push you upwards. It will propel you further. After that, Savita. Surya dwara vrishti yasyadikam suta iti savita. Then comes the concept of the clouds that you will see very close by. As you come up, there are 2 layers of clouds that you will see close by. Then Ravilochanaha. Ravi Rashmi Sankrantaditya Mukhyena Chandra Vidyud Varunat Lochayati iti Ravilochanaha. Then you will cross the moon. You will have to circumambulate the moon and then the Jivatma has to go. I told you yesterday this Desham is called Intu Desham because moon is very, very important for us as much as the sun. People think sun is important. Moon is as important as the sun. Next, Ananta Hutabuk Bhokta. Saptatantushu Hutam Bhuntam Itindro Hutabuk Praja Bhunti Palayati Prajapatir Bhokta Tau Mahantasyeti Ananta Hutabuk Bhokta. Before you reach the end of this Brahmandam, you will meet Indra in the Indra Lokam. The Indra is not that Ahalya's molester. No, this is Indra Palayati, the one who is responsible for the clouds there. Then you will cross Brahma and then after that there will be darkness. Sir, it is very dark. Is there any other way? 2 lines in Purusha Suktam tells that there is no other way. Nanyaf pantaha ayanaya vidyate. Nanyaf panta vidyate yanaya. There is no other way, there is no other way. Sir, then there is darkness, who will guide? That is when comes Sukhadaha. Amanava mukhena sprishtva savasanam samsara mutsarya swapti sukham dadatihi sukhadaha. After you cross the world called as Vidyut, Vidyut means lightning, Shastram tells that there will be a light boundary. Not the way we perceive boundary today, China-India border, not that way. There will be a thin boundary after which the Jivatma will become like a person living in Vaikuntham. It is called Sarupyam, Samipyam, Sayujyam, Salokyam. So it will become like Paramatma because there is no return for it, no rebirth. Then comes the last Namam, Naikadaha, the one who allows the riches of that lokam. When I say riches, see, for our understanding, Shastram will say you will get sandal to grind for the Lord. Now you should not think there will be one roll there, there will be one sandalwood. Whatever is the quality of Parabrahman, similar to that will be us. We will be very close to Parabrahman. We'll just be like him, but won't be him. You're getting the point? You know, in the word Maya, Dayananda Saraswati used to state very beautifully. What does Maya mean? As though it is there. So similarly in Visishtadvaita, you will become very close to the Lord. Many qualities you will share, but you will not be him. You will be with him, but not him. So this state is reached. That is the answer to the question number 2. What was the question number 2? Kimva pyekam parayanam. Lastly comes the answer to the first question. Daivatam devatanam cha bhutanam yovyayah pita. Yathas sarvani bhutani bhavantyadi yugagame. Yasminscha pralayam yanti punarevi yugakshaye. Tasya loka pradhanasya jagannathasya bhupate. Vishno nama sahasram me shrunu papa bhayapaham. So he says, Daivatam devatanam cha bhutanam yovyayah pita. The one who is undoubtedly the father to the creation. Yatas sarvani bhutani, for the entire creation. Bhavantyati yugagame, right from the start. Yasminscha pralayam yanti punareva yugakshaye. Tasya loka pradhanasya Jagannatha. He is the Jagannatha. Bhupate. So he is the one who has created you. Hey Yudhishthira, the answer to your 6 questions as to who is the one who is to be propitiated, who is that one whom we have to attain, who is that one who has to be done archana of, he who is that one who is to be done stuti of, who is the dharma of all dharmas, who is the one who is the paramam japam. The answer is one. The one who is standing next to you, called Krishna, is the answer for all these questions. Yecha veda vido vipraha, yecha adhyatma chetasaha, te vadanti mahatmanam, Krishnam dharmam sanatanam. Krishna is equal to Sanatana Dharma, tells Bhishmacharya. So, Vishnu Sahasranamam in many ways is the panacea to our understanding and the worldly sufferings. One important point which I thought I have to highlight for Nama. In the last 30-40 years, something that has caught up a lot of attention among Astikas, Bhagavatottamas, both in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra and many places in the north, is Nama Sankirtanam. Correct? So if you go to many temples of the Gaudiya Sampradayam, if you go to many temples of Vaishnava Sampradayam, Smartha Sampradayam, they will tell you recite the Nama of the Lord. There is something called Bhajana Sampradayam in Tamil Nadu. If you have heard of it, they were Trinity. Sridhar Ayyaval, Marudanallur Swamigal, and you have Bodhindral, Bhagavan Nama Bodhindral. They were all people who venerated Bhajana Sampradayam. Today, for Nama Sankirtanam, lakhs of people come. I am not exaggerating. Jaya Janaki Ramana, Jaya Vibhishana Sharana, Jaya Saroruha Charana, Jaya Dhira Karuna, Jaya Jaya. So this is how Sampradayam begins and everybody is completely engrossed in that. In the gap, whenever such Nama Sankirtanam people talk, many of them say, you keep telling the Nama of the Lord Narayana, Rama, Hare Rama, you will get moksham. This is where technically they get a bit wrong. Nama Sankirtanam alone cannot grant moksham as per Upanishads. Can I just explain these 2 lines better? Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Beautiful. But to tell that Nama Sankirtanam itself will grant moksha may be technically wrong. I am not saying it will not. How will Nama Sankirtanam help? Understand this Vedantic statement. It will help you in anywhere, wherever you go. Vedanta is very clear. It says to attain moksham, the only way is jnanam, knowledge. Jnana and moksha. Through jnanam you will get moksha. Now comes the question. What is jnanam? See, I know the lanthanides and actinides in Mendeleev's periodic table. That is also jnanam. I know the L'Hopital rule in differentiation. That is also jnanam. I know air pollination and water pollination in botany. That is also jnanam. I know oviparous and viviparous and ovoviviparous in zoology. That is also jnanam. I know about the battle of Plassey and the First World War, Second World War, Quit India movement, the great parampara like Vyasa Maharishi called Babar, Humayun, Shah Jahan, Babar Naptaram, Humayun Pautram, Shah Jahan Putram, Atmajam. I know the entire parampara. So that is also jnanam. Anything is knowledge. Anything is knowledge. But Vedanta says jnana and moksha. It doesn't say what jnanam. So anybody can interpret saying I have geography jnanam, history jnanam. Will that give me moksham? If you know any subject in detail, getting into that will also force you to commit moksham. Right? But is this jnanam? No. Nama Sankirtanam, as you keep doing it. See, today I don't know what is the meaning of the word Rama. I don't know what is the meaning of the word Krishna. I don't know what is the meaning of the word Hare. But some good Mahanubhava has taught me this mantra, this particular Ashtakshara, Dvadasakshari, Panchakshari. I keep reciting it. As I keep reciting it whenever I have time, not with devotion, just like that. One day, the Namam is so powerful that it will put me across to the right person. I will just be walking by the Zara shop in Orion Mall. As I'm walking, one person will come. Namaste, I've seen you before. I don't remember, sir. Sir, that day we met at the other airport, I think. Yes. Sir, are you free now? No, I have to go to Zara. No, after Zara, are you free? Why? See, in the mall, they are keeping one nice shop of good books. Very age-old books, it seems. I thought, somebody told me that they want customers. If you are free, you come to that shop. Okay, I will check if I have time. Mostly, I think I won't have time. Let me check. After visiting Zara, which is very close to Sushumna Nadi, I go to this bookshop. In that bookshop, there is a book authored by some person. How Nama Sankirtana helps refining a Bhagavata. I take that book. I want to support that person. See, my aim is not to buy that book at all. I know that I won't read. My aim is to help that book seller. 30 rupees. So what? I'll buy that 30 rupees. That also I'll bargain. One rates are 25 rupees. For publishing that book itself, you would have spent 30 rupees. But that 5 rupees, if we bargain and get, we feel we have achieved. So we'll bargain with that person. We would have spent 7,999 for a tone jeans in Zara. Nama Sankirtanam is not as precious as the tone jeans. 25 rupees only I can pay. I got that book. I'll keep it in my house. That has gone into some shelf. 3 weeks later, the residents of that house decide to clean that house. Many of them don't do it every day. So they decide to clean the house. So as I clean the house, I get this book. Then I remember, that day I got. So I try to dust that book. As I dust that book, the pages go left to right. In one page, I see 2 words by the side. Nama Sankirtanam helps. Something interesting, I'll keep that book aside. That afternoon, while having green tea, dietitian has said, I will open that book. As I read page after page, I get the inquisitiveness to know more. I started while I am 0. Now I have reached point 1. That evening, one of my relatives is coming. We have made good snacks for them. After giving those nice snacks, we tell them, please stay for dinner also. No. There is one Upanyasam happening close by. They are talking about how Nama Sankirtanam leads us to bhakti, which will lead to jnanam, which will lead to moksham. Is it? Even I read something about like that now. Is the person good? Okay. He will talk about a lot of things and will finally arrive at the topic. Not bad. If you are free, you can come. Is the event free? Discourses are always free. You can come. Okay, fine. I will come. I'll go. Out of 2 hours, I may not be able to relate to the entire 2 hours, but 10 minutes will make little difference in me. Maybe Vishnu Sahasranamam has something in it. Tomorrow I should buy one good Vishnu Sahasranamam book from exoticindiamart.com. I want to read about that more. Every Nama has a meaning to it. As you read, you internalize the content, and as you internalize, you realize Parabrahmam. As you realize Parabrahmam, you get Jnanam, and through that Jnanam, you get Moksha. But where did it begin? Nama Sankirtanam. So, technically to say that Nama Sankirtanam has granted moksham is one way, right? But the Nama Sankirtanam has led into bhakti, which led into jnanam, which granted moksham. So, whatever I speak or whatever you listen is not something we have planned completely. Vilupta murdhanya lipikramanam. I was ordained to speak about Vishnu Sahasranamam in my karma these 2 days. Without you realizing it, in your karma it is written that you have to listen to Sahasranamam for 2 days. That is why in such a city of over 1.5 crore population, a select few have come from different corners of the city, and that one thing that is binding us is the knowledge of Sahasranama. Right? So Nama Sankirtanam helps, that aids in bhakti, which grants the knowledge, and knowledge gives moksha. Jnanan mokshaha. But for that jnanam you need small means like Nama Sankirtanam, Carnatic music, dance. Today somehow the narrative has been hijacked. Music, you don't have to believe in Sanatana Dharma. Music is something different. So the musicians themselves say, what are you saying? I'm not singing for Tyagaraja. I'm singing for Kamboji. Who's Kamboji? Kalyani just gives me that high. What high will Kalyani give? Unless and until it is Vasudevayani Veddalinali Dovari Nijadasa Varada Nanubrovamani Shivakameshwari Bajare Re Chittabala Bika Yeta Vunara Pankajalochana Pahi Murantaka Ambarame Tannire Shore Aram Seyum. Without the Sahityam and Bhakti in classical music, will Tyagaraja agree with these musicians when they say, I don't believe in Tyagaraja? They are singing Tyagaraja compositions, and then they say, I don't believe in Tyagaraja. Then why do you want to sing? Don't sing. Sing about toothpaste. You can sing about toothpaste also in Kalyani. Do that. Let people buy tickets and come. Why do you want to sing the compositions of Tyagaraja? Agree. We may not have the same bhakti as Tyagaraja. He was at a different level. We are at a different level. At least you should respect that musician and say that you are aspiring to be as devoted as Tyagaraja. No, I don't believe in Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Diksha. I believe in Kamboji. Who is this Kamboji? So art forms have been hijacked today, which is wrong. All these Vagekaras composed out of sheer devotion. If you feel that you cannot sing out of devotion, you are unfit for this profession, go do something else. Natyam, Bhava Raga Talam iti Bharatam. Natya Shastram is meant to propitiate God. Now through Natya Shastram we want to awaken people about don't cut trees. Cutting trees is wrong. Your thought is good, but don't cut trees message should be a small part of your dance. Cutting, how not to cut trees, that is the name of 1 2-hour dance production. Will Bharata Muni agree with you? Bringing awareness amongst the people about nature is very important through art forms, but make it a part of your bhakti. Don't cut trees alone and dance. We have to gain back our roots of understanding Sanatana Dharma. Slowly, people have detached music from Sanatana Dharma. That is an art form. What form? Which civilization allows people to sing about God? There are many civilizations that think that singing itself is a crime. In Sanatana Dharma, Nadopasana, you can attain God through music. Nrityopasana, you can attain God through dance. When a civilization gives us the liberty to attain the supreme through various ways, we should learn how to respect that civilization. It's very important. Sanatana Dharma has sustained itself after so many invasions and so many ridicules and so many onslaughts because of the love that binds the follower to the religion, not fear. We are never fearful of Sanatana Dharma. There is no one single authority who will issue death sentence to us today. Not a single person. We are bound by love. And it is only that bhakti, which is love, which is sustaining Sanatana Dharma. So my earnest request, of course there are elderly people here, you have all been sustaining Sanatana Dharma, to the Gen Z and to the millennials is, you don't have to publicly state that I am Bhaktiman, I am doing this, I am doing that. No, all that is not required. Bhakti is a very personal element. But inculcate that bhakti. How will you do that? Listen to lectures, listen to music. Of course, you can watch a Ponniyin Selvan. But remember that the Ponniyin Selvan, truly called Arulmozhi Varman or Rajaraja Cholan, with so much of aura around him as being one of the most powerful kings, as one of the most powerful naval fleets, he called himself the servant of Shiva, called Shivapada Shekhara. In all his inscriptions, he says, I am a devotee of Shiva. The best of the kings always treated themselves as the servants of God. Martanda Varma, he says, Padmanabha Dasa, I am servant to Padmanabha. Because with the highest power comes the biggest humility. Vidya Dadati Vinayam. All our kings were humble. So bhakti is something that you don't have to showcase in the public, but you will have to inculcate within yourself. Try as many sources to equip this knowledge, yourself with knowledge. We don't know whether we'll go to moksham or there'll be a next janma. Correct? In this janma, we are blessed to at least know that there is a Ramayanam and Mahabharatam. Read it. Sir, it is a story. No. Every time, I don't even have a count of how many Bhagavata Saptahams I've done. Set of 7 days, I would have done at least 100 plus. Every time, trust me, every time I glance through Bhagavatam to present it during that time, I will realize, oh, this, why didn't I know that before itself? How did I know that now? Every time I touch Bhagavatam, it gives me a new thought. That powerful is Shuka's words and that powerful is Valmiki's Kokilam. So rather than immersing ourselves into other books are fine. The Deception Point is good. Da Vinci talks about Mary Magdalene. Angels and Demons talks about anagrams. All that is good and interesting. But in my humble opinion, I don't want you all to completely endorse what I feel, but I feel, since I have been given the stage and the mic, I can tell with sheer confidence, no scripture in this world comes even closer to Ramayana and Mahabharata the way it is presented. I am not talking because I belong to Sanatana Dharma. Maybe you can assume, you're free to assume it's a democratic country. But the way in which it has been presented, the human thoughts, the mesh of human politics that goes into these books, the philosophy that is extracted from its renderings is unparalleled and unsurpassed in many, many ways. Of course, to protect such scriptures, we need organizations like Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. It calls itself Bharatiya. There are so many institutes that want to call them with the Anglic name, India, Indian Institute, Indian. But this is called by its original name Bharatiya. And what is associated with Bharata? Knowledge, Vidya. And where is the temple of that Vidya? The entire country, which is the Bhavan. Bhavan is the place where it is housed. So Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan has been one of the torchbearers of the Vedic civilization, which we are all an integral part of. I am extremely indebted to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan to allow me to speak for 2 days on a topic like this. See, Vishnu Sahasranama Mahatmyam, where I explain Parashara Bhatta's commentary alongside philosophy, is not something that a general audience can enjoy, relish and take home. Ramayanam is easy. I can give narration. Ramar kudicha nadai enna ittu vandalam jal 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 abdin vandal. I can do that. I can get as interesting in my narration. But how long will narrations keep hold of our audience? Shouldn't we get one step deeper and understand the philosophy? For that, BVB has given me this stage. The entire team of BVB, the Astikas who have supported it, the sponsors, Badri Vishal, and all of you. See, we have never kept banner even in any of the temples. I don't know how many temples we have. With no banners. Just a word of mouth can pull people on a Sunday morning, which is supposed to be the laziest of them all, on a Sunday morning to a lecture on Vishnu Sahasranamam. Just proves that Bangalore can be called the IT capital, the biotech capital, flooding capital. But I would beg to differ. In the day, because I travel everywhere, I see a transition in Bangalore in the last 7-8 years. Very soon it will become the spiritual capital. The way I see it. So, kudos to all the Astikas, irrespective of age. Little children, which was a rarity in those days. Now, I see a huge change in the trend. People below the age of 45 constitute over 50% of my audience today. Which just proves that age has nothing to do with narration and civilization. It's in fact your interest and your love that binds us all together. With this, 2 announcements. November 25th, Domlur, Tamil Upanyasam. They wanted it in Tamil. If you can't understand Tamil, you can still understand if you have the will to learn a language. If you want the content, learn the language. Second, it is in the evening, maybe around 5:36 at Surya Narayana Swami Temple, Mantapam, Domlur, November 25th. I think it's a Friday, I think. Next is another event, you can make note of it. February 18th, 2023, 18th February, which is a Saturday, evening 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, our trust called as Deshika Daya Trust that I manage with a group of volunteers. We are very happy to collaborate with a dance school called Anita Guha from Chennai, and we are presenting a grand dance production of 2.5 hours called Sriman Narayaniyam, based on Bhattadri's Narayaniyam on Guruvayurappan, a Sanskrit work. We are presenting a 2.5 hour dance production. So it is happening in Chaudaya Hall. The music is done by Rajkumar Bharati, the great-grandson of Bharati, Subramanya Bharati. The music has been produced by Sai Shravanam, the sound recordist for the Academy Award-winning Life of Pi movie. We have a plethora of musicians, the students of Bombay Jayashree, Sudha Raghunathan singing for us. And I have done the script, and our trust is supporting the entire production financially. It is happening on the 18th of February. I'm telling you like 4 months in advance so that you can keep that day blocked. Bring your relatives here. It is being generally, dance productions that I have done in the past. I've done about 5 dance productions with different dancers. We premiere it in the cultural capital of the country, which is Chennai. Chennai is undoubtedly culturally the capital. Music, dance. We have 3,000 concerts that happen in Chennai season alone, Margazhi season alone. But this time I thought for a change I should premiere it in Bangalore. We should make this the cultural capital as well. Right? Of course, IT capital, biotech capital, all that is many, many feathers to our hat. But alongside the civilization, we should make it the cultural capital as well. So the 18th of February, Saturday, 4 p.m., Chaudaya Hall, dance production, Narayaniyam with my English narration. Please do present. Now, this is a ticketed event. Around the month of December, you will get notification across my social media pages where to buy. You have to go online, buy the ticket and come. Yeah. Thank you so much. Namaskaram. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha.
I think a big round of applause. Not enough. This is how we could rather acknowledge your 2-day lecture program. We are very grateful. Bharati Vidya Bhavan is always will be your place. You can always choose to do whatever you would like to. we will make it as a cultural capital of India. It has already been so. So Bharati Vidya Bhavan operates in 385 centers in India and about 10 centers abroad. So wherever the venue you choose, it is Bharati Vidya Bhavan. So with these few words, I once again, on behalf of all of you, I thank Dushyanth Sridhar for his 2-day wonderful Vishnu Sahasranamam. May I request Vishal to kindly do the honors on this very special occasion. Give once again a round of applause. And it is because of his Vishal Sridhar. Thank you so much. And the Besi Belabath you have been hearing for quite some time. In the last 2 days, it is being served in the opposite, first floor of this same building. The entrance you can go either from this side, or if you are going a little slow, you can go from here also, one by one. So please have whatever the prasadam that we have offered, and let's meet again and again. Namaskar.
ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದು ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಅದೇನಿಲ್ಲ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಎಸ್ ಡಿ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ ರಿಮೋಟ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು